orbit. I've been moving slowly, got me going up, they got my head clouded. I'll be good by the morning, at the time of my life. Ride for the squad, no lights through the fog, but we made it, yeah. I'll be good by the morning, feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. I feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. Feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling.
The Nathan Ivy Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivy Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. Let's stay here for a lifetime underneath the moonlight, 'cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go. Yeah, you could be my lifeline, you could be my sunshine in a world so full of pain. Can you make it go away? It used to be so sad that love was lost, but now it's here to stay. Yeah, I used to be uncomfortable, but look at me today. Never thought I'd find someone like you, someone to show the way. But now I know you're the answer to my prayer. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I'm sorry for the burden, sorry I was hurting, but my scars are almost healed. Yeah, my scars are almost healed. Yeah, I'm feeling like a child now, everything's alright now, and it's all because of you. You made the flower in me bloom. Used to be afraid of everything, but now there's no more fear. Yeah, I used to let nobody in and hide my face with tears. Always thought of you as someone who can love someone like me, but I was wrong, baby, now I believe. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right, baby.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. It's the Nathan Ivy Show. Hey, listen, do your boy a favor and go ahead and hit me with that share this morning so everyone can see that the show is on. It means everything. Good morning to you. Got a couple things planned for you this morning. Actually, more than that, a couple of topics and a special guest starting at 9 a.m. So coming up, I want to talk about the future of Ohio. I am broadcasting live from Cincinnati, Ohio. And in particular, I want to talk about the Stand Your Ground case. Not sure if this is on your radar screen, but something interesting happened in a Stand Your Ground state. And to me, it's a possible window into the future of Ohio. The future of Ohio. There was a case in which it's at a car wash. A man jumps into a car to steal it. Oh, that works. That works, Nikita. I'll be in contact for sure. So, a man is at a car wash. A man jumps into a car to steal it from the car wash, and then the owner of the car notices it, comes out, opens fire on the theft on the thief as the thief is driving away in the car, and law enforcement officials say no charges. This is a possible window into the future of Ohio, my friends. Also, coming up at 9 a.m. this morning, we're scheduled to get a Zoom call from T.T. Stearns Enzi. He's fresh from a film festival. Everybody loves films, especially in these days and times with COVID-19. A lot of folks are binge watching, and he'll give us his thoughts on the latest, like what is he watching, what's on his radar screen. Should be interesting and a lot of fun. Also, a smattering of other topics, including the first impeachment trial. Well, let me put it back. The first day of the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump. Did you watch any of it? I want to get your thoughts. And a few other thoughts, superlative flows on people, politics, and pleasure. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, brought to you by the good folks over at Sin Digital Media. Their mission is simple: amplify Black voices. We'll get started in just about 60 seconds.
You never feel the way I feel. You don't know if my love is real. Baby, listen to me, here's the deal. When you're not here, I'm not the same. I'm needing a new chapter, babe. Been stuck here in a bed for days. I've been staring at the telephone, cause when you're gone, I miss your face. Late o'clock, body talk. There's no need to bring it up. Nothing you say makes it better. Wrecking ball, tear apart. Issues left behind, restart. Nothing you say makes it better. Hey, bring it right back to me, baby. No, we've been here before. Give me the real this time, no cap, no lies. It's our encore. Bring it right back to me, baby. I know my heart wants more. Give me the good this time, no cap, no lies. It's our encore. I never wanna give you up. I know we've been through way too much, but I'm confident we'll make it through. I'm here for you, you're not by yourself. Late o'clock, body talk. There's no need to bring it up. Nothing you say makes it better. Wrecking ball, tear apart. Issues left behind, restart. Nothing you say makes it better. Bring it right back to me, baby. No, we've been here before. Give me the real this time, no cap, no lies. It's our encore. Bring it right back to me, baby. I know my heart wants more. Give me
Listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a fuck, that's what they don't understand.
Back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a fuck, I don't care. Did the shit for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem is nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings I throw all my pain on percussion. The disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you all my spot at the feast. I've been on go
All right,
mode,
good morning,
show
everybody.
mode.
Let's get straight to it. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And let's get things started here. Let's bring the cam up. All right. Yeah, there we are. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me make sure I'm looking right. I believe so. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me with no problems whatsoever. I believe everything is good. Good morning to you. Welcome back to the last honest place in Cincinnati media. It's the Nathan Ivy Show. And as always, you know my motto: one man, one microphone, one mission. Let's get straight into it this morning. I want to talk about numerous things. And we have a special guest giving us a Zoom call at 9 a.m. this morning. I put the invitation out, so there could be a couple of more guests. We'll see. When they confirm, I'll let you know. You'll be the first to know. All right, 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts, I might do a quick wardrobe change of the glasses this morning. So if you see a little something different, don't be too alarmed by that. All right. Future of Ohio. No charges in car theft case due to stand your ground law. I don't know if you're aware of this story, but I want to hip you to the game real quick because I live in Ohio, and the Republican sucker MC majority here in the state legislature, they recently passed, and our sucker MC governor that everybody thought was a friend to the community because he seemed like he was making sense at the beginning of the corona pandemic. He signed on to it, even over the objection of a lot of people in the community, including the Cincinnati NAACP, and for that matter, perhaps the NAACP branches across the state of Ohio. But if you're not hip to it, I want to hip you to what actually happened. I think it's quite interesting and worthy of some attention here. So there was a stand your ground case. And essentially what happened was, let me put the image back up here again. I'll give you. So this is a car wash. And a man decided that he was going to steal a car from the car wash. I've actually got a little bit of a video that I'll show you in a second. And he pushes the attendant out of the way. This happened in Florida. We all know that Florida is a stand your ground state. We'll say that they're infamous for the stand your ground law. So he pushes the attendant out of the way. He jumps into the car. It happened to be a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. And as he's driving away, the owner of the vehicle runs out. In my opinion, after watching the video several times, the owner of the vehicle was never in harm's way because the driver was actually driving away from him. And the dude, fires straight into the car, shooting the man, the alleged thief or the thief, in the head, and he dies. He actually crashes the car into, I think it was like a building, and it caused a big traffic jam for some time. And now Stephen Allen Lott has been cleared of any wrongdoing because of the stand your ground case. He shot and killed Jose Antonio Reyes Bermudez. Jose Antonio Reyes Bermudez tried to steal his Mercedes G-Wagon, and prosecutors concluded that Mr. Stephen Allen Lott had, quote unquote, the legal right to stand his ground and use deadly force to protect himself from death or great bodily harm. Now I want to play this video for you because, in my opinion, I didn't see that his life was ever in jeopardy. If you take a look at this image once again, the car swerves to the right and is beginning to try to drive away. And so basically, in my opinion, this was an act of just straight up revenge. Like, how dare you try to steal my car? I'm going to kill you because you try to steal my car. His life was never in jeopardy. It almost reminded me on some levels of what happened here in Hamilton County a few years ago. We'll talk about that. Now, we know all the Republicans got together and they proposed this bill, got it through the legislature, got it on the desk of the Suck MC Governor Mike DeWine, who has no spine whatsoever. The only spine he has is when he's trying to strong arm school children to go back into the school building, when he's trying to strong arm the Cincinnati Public Schools and the administrator and the school board members into forcing the kids to go back into an unsafe situation. Then he's got nothing but backbone. He's got no backbone. I mean, in any other case whatsoever, he's got no backbone. He wouldn't stand up to Trump. His lips was fixed to Trump's ass. But when it comes to forcing school children to go back into unsafe conditions, he's all for that. I got to make that point right there. And this fool signed on to this, and in my opinion, has made Ohio a less safe place. Now, I know it's really early. It's only, a few weeks? All right. I'm not even sure if it's gone. Maybe we need about another couple of weeks before it goes in place. I'll double check on that this morning. And essentially what it did in Ohio is it removed the requirement for people to try to get away from situations. So now in Ohio, you can do exactly what this man did down in Miami Beach. Somebody try to steal your car. You don't have to retreat. If they come anywhere near you, now it doesn't mean that they're trying to run you over, but if they drive anywhere near you while maybe trying to steal your car, now you can shoot them and kill them. I think this is a direct threat to every black man, woman, and child in the state of Ohio. Me personally, maybe I'm biased because I'm melanated. I talked with a guy named Joe Eden. Oh, we spent about 45 minutes, and Joe made no sense whatsoever. He could not successfully defend his argument or that stance. He didn't have to because the governor signed it. But like I said to Joe, and he had no evidence whatsoever, is show me the evidence. Show me the cases where prosecutors in Ohio are overcharging people because basically they defended themselves. There is no case law. There's no evidence whatsoever that we needed to have a stand your ground law in Ohio. This basically was a conclusion looking for something. They arrived at their conclusion, and whatever they had to do and say to get there is what they did. In fact, to the contrary, there was a case going back about 15 years ago here in Hamilton County where the current Hamilton County prosecutor, Joe Dieters, he basically denied or did not charge a man who ran out into the street. It's kind of similar. He goes out, it's a cold day, maybe not unlike a day like right now in Cincinnati, right? Very cold outside, and he warms up his car while the car is inside of his driveway, leaving the keys in the car. Okay. Everybody knows that could be a recipe for disaster. All right. Now, should you have the right to do that without somebody getting into your vehicle? Absolutely. So a young man jumped into the car with the intent of stealing it and drives the wrong way down a cul-de-sac, which means he went to a dead end. And when he turned around, the car owner had ran out into the middle of the street with his weapon drawn and shot this young man. No charges. Talking about some self-defense. Wait a minute. You ran into the path of danger, and then you want to claim self-defense? And the Hamilton County prosecutor said no charges. So why do we need a stand your ground law? Again, Hamilton County prosecutors in Ohio, to my research and my knowledge, are not overcharging people because all they were trying to do was defend themselves. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. This was just on the wish list of the super gun lobby and these paranoid, primarily white people who felt like they wanted to have some recourse if they feel a certain way. I think it's very, very dangerous. This case in Miami Beach could be a window into the near future of Ohio. I don't want to see it, but I know Ohioans. I know the people. And I would not be surprised to see if we see another case or we see a similar case as this in Ohio. Because Ohioans, some of you Ohioans don't have no damn sense. Now, not my core listener shit, but your friends, the people that don't listen to this show. They don't get baptized, with this flow every single morning. They're not as logical based as we are. Okay. I'm talking about everybody else. They got problems. You know it. I know it. I don't trust them. I still don't trust them. And I fear that somebody's going to get killed. But again, this is my opinion. I want to know your thoughts about this. Do you think that this is a justifiable way to use the stand your ground law? Let's make it personal. You at a car wash. You're getting your G-Wagon washed. All right. Somebody, as you're about to, take the tip or to slip over to the person that's doing whatever to your car, that's toweling it down and, finishing it off. Somebody pushes that person out the way and jumps into your ride. You pay for that. That's your blood, sweat, and tears. You're the one making those payments. You're the one working extra. You're the one dealing with whatever you got to deal with on the job to take care of the insurance. You're the one that takes care of the muffler. You're the one that takes care of the brakes. You're the one that put that brand new system inside of there. And this mofo is going to jump inside of your car? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. and you strapped. You got your concealed and carry permit. You fresh off of a couple rounds at the local shooting range. What? Is that justifiable in your opinion to shoot somebody who stole your vehicle and they're driving away? Now, of course, if they're trying to barrel down on you, you got to do what you got to do. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do. There's really no question about that. Now, obviously, you got to do what you got to do. Somebody got the nerve to try to take your life after taking your property. It's their last day on earth. I get it. 100%. But I'm going to play this video for you. That's not what I saw. That's not what I saw. What I saw was somebody was like, how dare you steal my car? You're trying to pimp my ride. I don't mean to make jokes about it because somebody lost their life. But that's what I saw. And I'm going to play this video for you, and you tell me what you saw. Okay? So this man avoided charges because allegedly his life was in danger. I didn't see it. Okay? I'm going to roll tape on this. You tell me what you think. You tell me what you see, okay? Check this out.
Video showing a customer turned shooter pulling the trigger on a man who stole this Mercedes G-Wagon from a car wash in 2018. In the video, you can see car thief Jose Reyes Bermudez hop in the SUV. A car wash employee tries to stop him from driving off. And then on the side, the customer, Stephen Lott, aimed his pistol and fired 2 shots, one piercing the left side of Bermudez's head.
Everyone was like yelling, call the cops, call the cops.
Bermudez not making it far. Video shows the car crashing into the Office Depot right across.
Okay, so there it is a little bit. I showed it for you. I'll play it for you again. And to me, again, I don't know the lay of that particular parking lot. So I don't know if there were other ways for you to exit. Maybe there were other ways to exit. But to me, it seemed as if, I don't know. To me, I think the mentality of a car thief is to steal the car. Not to murder somebody, but you know what I'm saying? Because if you're trying to steal the car, then maybe you either take it on a joyride, maybe you want some dumb-ish, or maybe you got a financial motive. None of those motives are served if you murder somebody during the commission of it. You're trying to get away with the vehicle for, let's say you want to chop it up. Let's say you want to sell it. Let's say you want to joyride. Let's say you want to make a ridiculous YouTube video or something like that. I mean, people do all kind of stuff for the gram, for the TikTok, and for the YouTube. They do all kind of stuff. It could have been all of the above or maybe one of them. I don't know. But I don't believe he was trying to kill this man. Let me play this for you again. I want to roll this back. I don't believe he was trying to kill the guy. I think what he was trying to do was get away. In my opinion, the car owner could have just stood there, maybe stepped back. Dude would have took the car and his life was never in danger. But this is me. He was in that situation. I want to play this again, and then you tell me what you think.
Aimed his pistol and fired 2 shots, one piercing the left side of Bermudez's head.
Everyone was like yelling, call the cops, call the cops.
Bermudez not making it far. Video shows the car crashing into the Office Depot right across the street. That was Lott. According to a newly released prosecutor's memo, Lott quickly identified himself as the shooter and told Miami police, quote, "I was in fear for my life and I shot." That statement making charging him unjustified because of Florida's stand your ground law.
See, that's dangerous. See, that's the same game that the police be using. Oh, I just had to shoot this unarmed person because I thought he had a gun. It turned out it was a sandwich, or it was a cell phone, and there was nothing in their hands. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people are smart. They watch what the police do, and they say the same thing. Like, who wouldn't say that in a situation like that? Anybody's going to use that same rationale, like, oh, I was afraid. And then it becomes, well, how do you tell somebody that they shouldn't be afraid? How do you tell somebody that they're wrong for feeling the way that they do? I don't know. I want to open up the phone lines and really get your thoughts on it. 513-873-7134. What do you think? In my opinion, dude was in no danger. He probably was in his feelings because people think that property is worth life. Now, people are like, well, Nate, what would you do? I'd let him drive off with the car. That's what insurance is for. I'll catch you later, homie. Now, if I thought you were trying to run me down and it's you or me, it's got to be you. But it's a car. I'd be pissed. I'd be inconvenienced. You messed up all of my plans for the rest of the day, the whole weekend. I'm out of a vehicle. I'm going to be mad as hell. I just don't see myself killing somebody over property. I don't care if it's a car or not. Take it. We got insurance. We'll get a brand new one. We'll get a brand new one. Go ahead and take it. We'll catch you later. I'm gonna prosecute to the fullest. There'll be no sympathy, and that's it. But to shoot somebody over, I don't give a damn if it was a Q wagon. I'm not sure what the highest letter in the alphabet per the G wagon class series. I don't know. Mercedes G wagon drivers will have to tell me. I don't care if it was a model ride. I don't care if it was a $5 billion car. Take the car. Because for me, if I got a luxury vehicle, I got luxury insurance. We'll get another one. We'll holler at you. No sweat. It's like, oh, damn, that's what you're doing out here, homie? Damn, you didn't inconvenience me, and we'll holler at you later. But that's me. That's me. Like I said, I don't want to go to my maker and have to tell my maker I had to take out one of your children. Now, I will. And I'm not going to sit around crying about it and having nightmares. If you force me to that, that's your ass. It is what it is. But over some trinkets, nah. I had somebody break into our house where I'm at right now. They broke into the house and they must have been scoping us because I was taking home my cousin. She was at the house for a little bit. They must have been watching us because we scared them. We came back home and I think that they were just running out the back door, despite what I may or may not have had in the house. I never thought to shoot somebody who's running away. You know what I'm saying? Now, as I was going through the house, we on high alert. But once I realized that there was like a path of like just, I won't say destruction of just, you could tell that somebody had ran through our home and went out the back door. And at that point, we went through the whole house, or I went through the whole house, every detail, every nook and cranny. I know where all the hiding places are, trust me. And I confirmed and felt very strongly no one's in the house. Then they're outside the house. Well, then my threat level goes down a little bit. I ain't trying to kill you no more. I ain't trying to take you out because you're running away. I think they stole, our daughter had a Kindle, which is sort of like a device. It's sort of like a Surface Pro or something like that, like an iPad. It was called a Kindle though. They stole her Kindle, which was a brand new gift that we got her. You know what we did? We got her a new one. That's what we did. We filed a police report and we got a new one. And it was some sleepless nights for family. I mean, I sleep pretty good. We put some security measures in place. But once you ain't a threat to me, you're not a threat to me. I'm not one of these overly sensitive people that feel like I got to overreact to every little thing that somebody says or does. I mean, I process things for what they are. If you're not a threat to me, I'm not going to treat you like you're a threat to me. I'm not. Sorry. Hold on, I got to hit this aspirin every single day, as you know. You know what I'm saying? It's the consequences of not taking care of yourself. But what do you think? I want to play it for you one more time. Take care of yourself, family. I want to play this for you one more time. And I want you to tell me what you see. All right? Tell me what you see. I'm going to play this one more time, and then we'll go straight to your comments and tell me what you think. And I also want to know what you would do. And again, there is no wrong answer. I mean, just keep it real. You know what we do here on the show? The choppers keep it real. So keep it real with me. Let me go back all the way so that you can get as much information as possible if you're just tuning in. I mean, look at the vehicle right here. Can you see that? Yeah, look at the vehicle. So it looks like it looks like a hard turn right there. So it kind of makes me wonder if he was driving out a way that was intended for you to go in, which would make sense. You just stole a vehicle, so you're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. I get it. And in no way am I trying to say that it's okay to steal people's cars. I don't think I'm coming across like that. Anybody that thinks that is on some BS. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's a car. That's all it is. It's a car. Check this out.
Returned shooter pulling the trigger on a man who stole this Mercedes G-Wagon from a car wash in 2018. In the video, you can see car thief Jose Reyes Bermudez hop in the SUV. A car wash employee tries to stop him from driving off, and then on the side, the customer, Stephen Lott, aimed his pistol and fired 2 shots, one piercing the left side of Bermudez's head.
Everyone was like yelling, call the cops, call the cops.
Bermudez not making it far. Video shows the car crashing into the Office Depot right across the street. That was Lott. According to a newly released prosecutor's memo, Lott quickly identified himself as the shooter and told Miami police, quote, "I was in fear for my life and I shot." That statement making charging him unjustified because of Florida's stand your ground law.
A car is a weapon too. And if somebody was either about to be run over or reasonably were to think that they were about to be run over by a vehicle, they can, within their rights, take action. And in this case, action being using deadly force.
And that's what he used. Like I said, to me, I'm talking about this because I think that this is a glimpse into the near future of Ohio. There is no issue. There was no issue in Ohio where people were, exercising self-defense. And then Ohio prosecutors, mainly white male Ohio prosecutors, were charging them with homicide or murder when it was really and truly and clearly, cases of self-defense. There's no evidence of it, because if there was, then it'd be in the media. People like Joe Eaton and with the Ohio Buckeye Firearms Association will be talking about it. They will be leading with it because it would be the strongest part of their argument. Instead, they're talking about all this Second Amendment mumbo jumbo and making up ish that really don't make no sense. We talked to Joe. He made no sense. He had nothing for your boy, as we were just asking him just very basic questions about it. So, Joe, is there any examples where, as I just said, prosecutors in Ohio are charging people with homicide when they should not be charged because they were just basically self-defending themselves or just exercising self-defense? No. Then what's the point? What's the point then, Joe? Second Amendment. Second Amendment. Stop with all of that. Stop with all of that. I think we've seen a man get murdered, in my opinion, but we're not in Florida. I bring this up because this could be the near future of Ohio. And Black people in Ohio, your alarm should be raised. See, I'm concerned with the way that we look at people who have committed crimes. Like the way that we look at people who are guilty of crimes is completely ill. It's completely ill. And part of that is the reason that we have so many issues in law enforcement. And what I mean by that is, like, there is a popular belief in my observation that if you commit a crime, that there is a significant enough of a portion of our society that it'll be like, well, whatever happens to you happens to you. Doesn't matter how the cops treated you because you committed a crime. Wait a minute, that's a problem. What people don't understand is what they do to one of us, they can do to all of us, whether they committed a crime or not. There's rules to the game. If you can just do anything to somebody that committed a crime, then you can just do anything to somebody who you think might commit a crime. And that's what we see happening over and over and over and over again. That's why we should pay attention to what happens to our prison population. That's why it matters due process. That's why it matters the way the inmates are treated down at the Hamilton County Justice Center. That's why all of that matters. Some folks out there think you all comfortable in your belief that, I didn't commit a crime. That don't mean nothing. What they do to one of us, they can do to any of us. We live in a society where people believe just because you're accused of something, you did it. Look at what's happening right now with the city council members that got caught up in the federal charges. I've been consistent with every last one of them and will be the same way until you either cop a plea or convicted, you innocent. A lot of folks don't really believe that until it's them. Now, when it's them, it's innocent to proven guilty. But when it's somebody else, just the allegations alone looks bad. Well, it might look bad, but so what? Can you feel me this morning? 513-873-7134. Also, coming up in about an hour, we're scheduled to speak with T.G. Stearns Enzi. He's a film critic, fresh from a film festival. Can't wait to talk with him about the latest. I want to hear it. But what do you think? What would you do in that situation? If it was me, I got my weapon on me. I'm just going to step back and let him take the car. I don't see a reason to pull it. I don't see a reason. I'm going to step back like, damn, this mofo. I'm going to cuss and all that kind of stuff and swear. I'm going to do all that kind of stuff because now you've inconvenienced me. Now you're going to cost me money in the short term because I don't have a vehicle. I'm Ubering. Right now I got to Uber. Now I got to go back home and tell the wifey somebody stole the car and I don't know where my car is. I got to call the insurance company. If they find the car, more than likely it's going to be damaged. And who wants somebody in your car anyway? Your car is sort of like a pristine environment that you create for yourself. You don't want somebody sitting in your car. So I'm going to be pissed. I'm a Virgo. The most superlative Virgo on planet Earth, by the way. I'm a Virgo. Virgos like things in certain ways, every detail, okay? But to shoot this man, nah, I'm gonna let you get. I'll let the boys get you, man. I'll let the police get you. They'll bring you back. And if they don't, then they'll find a car. And again, I'm not driving any kind of vehicle without insurance, especially not a luxury vehicle. So we got insurance, but that's just me. What do you think? Jenny writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hey, good morning to you. Hold on, let me change that real quick. Change those colors. Good morning to you. What do you think? Think about it. There is no wrong answer. I just want to know what you think. Your thoughts are the currency on the show this morning. Straight up, agree, disagree. That doesn't really matter. I want to know what you think. What would you honestly do? Keep it real. How many people out there going to pull the weapon and shoot? Don't be shy. I'm not going to beat you up because that's how you feel about it. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. How many people going to pull a weapon and kill a man over a vehicle or a woman over a vehicle? That's just not me. I don't see it. I'm going to reserve that for the people that deserve it. James writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you, James. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Charles writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Charles. Anthony writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. How are you? Brian writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Brandy's in the house. Hey, good morning to you, Brandy. I love that I can see the avatar that you use on whatever social media platform you might be on, whether it be Facebook or YouTube. I feel like, it's just better that way. I can see you. Arnell's in the house. Good morning to you. She writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the family. Good morning to you. Jane writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Jane. Good morning to you. Appreciate Jane's. Jane is the admin. She kicked off that friend to like the Nathan Ivy Show Facebook group. I appreciate her for that. And then all the people that post in that group and started that group and invite people to that group, I really appreciate it. But I really want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of it. We got like almost a little less than 1,000 people in that group. If I'm gonna have 1,000 people in a group, I want it to be a group that actually, can move the needle and serves a larger purpose. Now, of course, it does serve a purpose now because it lets me know what other people are into. I mean, that is a primary source for information, guests, and topics on this particular show, and I love it. But I think we can get a little deeper with it. Daryl writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Daryl. Marche writes, happy hump day, Nathan and the Choppers. Well, happy hump day to you. Happy hump day to you. We need some hump day music here. Let me see what we got. I usually got something in the kitchen we can put out real quick. Hold on real quick. Yeah, we'll just do something like this. Something light in the background. KR Mitchell writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, KR. Good to see you. Brenda writes, good morning from Fairfield. Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I really appreciate everybody being here 100%. You know it. Before we get too deep into the show, though, I do want to make sure that we take a moment to get a word from today's sponsor. Now, today's show is being sponsored by the Wellburn Experience. If you're looking for a dream home, or perhaps you're looking for rental property, or maybe you're looking for commercial real estate, I know someone who can help you with that. That's Team Wellburn, thewellburnexperience.com.
It's that Wellborn experience. It's that Wellborn experience. The Wellborn experience. 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 It's that Wellborn experience. Yeah, the Wellborn experience. That Wellborn experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you're happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Oh, that's the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the Wellborn experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing
sharing information, educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Relieve the pressure. Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
That's 513-252-1055. There's a link in today's description if you want to connect with Team Wellborn this morning. And when you do, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Nathan Ivey Show. It means everything. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? How are you? So what do you think? Let me go straight to your comments this morning. Good morning. What do you think? Brenda says, good morning from Fairfield. Rolando writes, what it do? Brian writes, good morning. Sean writes, morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Drop is in the house. He writes, black, not Democrat. Well, you might as well come in and just say hello now, son. Come on in. He wants Scooby-Doo crackers. So there you go, man. That's all you can have, other than fruit. The show's secondary in the life of my son. Just so you know that. He'll come in when he gets ready to. Okay. It makes no difference. Man, we had some great times yesterday. Went out and played in the snow. They built snowmen in the yard, and we did the whole snowball fighting. I fell about 3 times. My daughter just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, your father falling on the ground, busting his ass wide open is funny. You know, that's how kids are. They want to see their parents fall. They want to see their dad hit the ground. I hit the deck about 3 times yesterday, but we had a spectacular time. I'm cool. We had a great time, man. I was tagging them with snowballs, so the arm still got some gusto on the arm. We had a great time. Then we went back out again last night because the only thing better than playing in the snow during the daytime is playing in the snow at nighttime. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. So they had a great time. I even got some images here. Maybe I can show you real quick. We had a good time yesterday. And there was no way in hell that my son was going to let us get past not going outside yesterday. So we went 2 times. Let me see. I got a video here I can play for you. This is from last night. Can you see that? Yeah, this is from last night. Yeah, that's us right there. Look at that vid. Look at that quality. Oh my God, that focus is great. Yeah, that's us last night. I don't know what the hell they were building. Kids don't care. They just want to play in the snow. They don't care. My son was like, sleep outside all night challenge. You know, he's a YouTube baby. So he's coming of age in the world of YouTube. So that shapes, his understanding of what that means. It's completely different than when I was coming up, right? We didn't have YouTube. So everything's a challenge to him. He's like, yeah, I'm sleeping outside all night, Dad. I'm like, you can try that, son, if you want to. Now, of course, he did not. And then his mother chimed in from the back door, so motherish. They need to come inside. It's cold outside. I'm like, we got this. Every 5 minutes, they need to come inside. It's cold outside. I'm like, we got this, black woman. We got this. Kids out here playing in the snow, like I told you, the only thing the kids like better than playing in the snow in the daytime is playing in the snow in the nighttime. And it is fun, I must admit. Something about nighttime and snow is a good time there. Delroy is in the house. Good morning to you. Oh, thank you. Thumbs up. Appreciate it. Samantha writes, good morning, all. Glenn writes, thumbs up. He writes, morning, Nate, in the Facebook choppers. Drop writes, get to the choppers. Get to the choppers. I'm not sure what that is. Sean writes, carjacking is a hazardous profession. Yes, it is. It is a hazardous profession. I give you that. It is. It is. And you do put your life on the line. You absolutely do. You're stealing people's stuff, whatever can happen. And there's no denying that. I still say in the video that I saw that he didn't have to kill that man. And that's the whole point of the resistance that people put up about stand your ground. To me, there's a difference between things that you can do and things that you should do. There's a lot of things that you can do as an adult that you shouldn't and that you don't. And me, I'm pro Second Amendment, and I strongly encourage the listenership to get a CCW and also go out and get trained. I feel so strongly about it is that we've led classes with the show and we'll continue to do that. That's how strongly I feel about it. But I also feel very strongly that when you do that and you walking around here with a weapon, that's not a license for you to get in your feelings. Like, I'm not in my feelings. Not every little thing that happens, you want to overreact and kill somebody. I don't respect that whatsoever. That's not what this is about. To me, a CCW and getting trained is 100% about self-defense. Self-defense. So yeah, I would walk away from a situation with a pistol in my pocket. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk away from all situations, if not run away with a pistol in my pocket, because I don't want to have to kill you. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I'm forced to do. That's a last resort type of thing. I don't want to do that. Okay. If that means I'm a sucker because I'm running, then I'm a sucker. It is what it is. I don't want to have to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to go around you multiple times. And when I cannot, and there is no other way, then I got to do what I got to do. That's what it is for me. It's not somebody stealing my car. How dare you take my vehicle? And I'm shooting you just because I can, and I think I can get away with it. I think that when you have cases where people allege stand your ground, and again, there are differences in this. I know I can think of a case quite prominently where it went the other way, but I wonder if when there are cases when people exercise stand your ground, and let's say there was a crime that was being committed, like in this case, and let's say the perpetrator of the crime was a non-white person, I fear that prosecutors will look at that like, hey, stand your ground. And it just represents a lack of the worth of a non-white life. If you can understand where I'm coming from when I say it that way. You feel me on that? I'm just telling you, that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. But that's just me. But Sean is so right. He's right. Carjacking is a hazardous profession, no doubt about that. Hey, Nikita, how are you? Most definitely. We can definitely connect on Thursday. She writes, wow, that's crazy as F and scary. Yes, it is. Tiff writes, good morning, all. Sean writes, thou shalt not steal. See there, I hear you, Sean. I hear you. Right? But somebody stealing from you is not the same as somebody murdering you. What is this? The mob? You're not in the mob. You ain't a dope dealer. Now, again, I get it. You know, somebody puts themselves in a situation where you robbing people, you open the door for bad things to happen to you. Okay, I get you. That's the streets. We talking about the law here. Okay, what the streets do is one thing, and what the law is should be another thing. Or am I wrong? What do you think? What would you do? Dale writes, that law is not good for us. Marche writes, wow, that's reckless. Glenn writes, only a direct threat to carjackers. Okay, again, I want to know, what would you do in a situation like this? Same scenario. You're at a car wash. You got a luxury vehicle. And again, for people that need their vehicles to get to work, take care of their children, every car is a luxury. So we'll take luxury out of it. They're stealing your vehicle. Because I don't have a luxury vehicle, but that's a luxury for me. It's beyond luxury. It's a necessity. I need it. Especially, you know, you're talking about with somebody with children, you got to have it. You got to have it, period. Somebody gonna steal your vehicle, your car, that's how you get to work. You know they got food deserts. That's how you buy groceries. They're gonna steal your vehicle, cut off your lifeline for you and your family. Oh, believe me, I understand you can get real upset. You gonna shoot them when you don't have to? I want to know. Give it to me straight. Give it to me straight, choppers. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag team and I. Anthony writes, you know, Nay, I truly have no problem with this as long as it works for everyone. To me, the message should be leave people and their stuff alone. I know it's just property, but it's mine. I work hard for it. If I'm not bothering you, don't bother me. Anthony, I get it. But where do we draw the line? So it seems like, and again, in no way am I telling you wrong, brother. I just want to have a conversation. But it seems like you feel like if somebody tries to steal your car, then they get what they get. Okay. So where's that line? Does that include somebody trying to steal, let's say, a lesser price item? Let's say they're going to steal some computer equipment from you. Let's say you leave a camera in your car. They try to take the camera. You're going to shoot them when they run away? I mean, where's that line? Is there a dollar amount that we have fixed to this? Or is it just property across the line? Like, hey, You tried to steal some socks out the back seat of my car. I got to kill you. Like, how far? And again, I'm not being ridiculous. I just want to be specific. I want to know how far we go with this. Dale writes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Damn, bro. Hold on. Damn, bro, that's rough, man. Damn. What we doing out here? Marche writes, no, you're not biased. It's the truth. We are going to be the target per usual. Glenn writes, they were looking for a solution for a problem they don't have. Kind of like voter ID laws. Kind of just like that. You're right. Yo writes, speaking to Anthony, I agree with you 100%. People work hard for what they have, and you're going to try and steal it. It's fair game for me. If I can get away with it, I'm shooting. Damn. Yo, damn. Y'all are tough. Sean writes, Jack boys get killed all the time. It's a dangerous profession. Pastor Leslie Jones is in the house. Hey, good to see you, Pastor Leslie. She writes, good morning. James writes, governor is trying to say the car was the weapon. How the shooter had to back up gives them ammo to say he could have hit the owner. Okay, hold on. Let me play this again here. I'm not sure I get what you're trying to say here. You're saying what now? He says how the shooter had to back up gives them ammo to say he could have hit the owner. Oh, okay. Maybe you're right about that. Let me take one more look at this. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're just tuning in. We're talking about stand your ground. To me, I see the future of Ohio in a case that happened where the shooting happened back in 2018. The decision was just made this week of a man who basically shot someone who was trying to steal his car from a car wash. Okay, so check this out and then tell me what you think.
Video showing a customer turned shooter pulling the trigger on a man who stole this Mercedes G-Wagon from a car wash in 2018. In the video, you can see car thief Jose Reyes Bermudez hop in the SUV. A car wash employee tries to stop him from driving off, and then on the side, the customer, Stephen Lott, aimed his pistol and fired 2 shots, one piercing the left side of Bermudez's head.
Everyone was like yelling, call the cops, call the cops.
Bermudez not making it far. Video shows the car crashing into the Office Depot right across the street. That was Lott. According to a newly released prosecutor's memo, Lott quickly identified himself as the shooter and told Miami police, quote, I was in fear for my life and I shot. That statement making charging him unjustified because of Florida's stand your ground law.
A car is a weapon too. And if somebody was either about to be run over or reasonably were to think that they were about to be run over by a vehicle, they can, within their rights, take action. And in this case, action being using deadly force.
You're looking at the future of Ohio. I hate to say it, but I feel like something like this is going to happen in Ohio. Similar circumstances, and someone's going to get killed. So we're just talking about it like, I think that it was a bad decision. At a time like this during the pandemic, this is what the GOP majority at the state of Ohio level is doing. You coming up with stand your ground laws. What's next? Another anti-abortion move? I mean, can you get to work? Can you get to work doing stuff for the people of Cincinnati and Ohio and Cleveland? What'd you say to people of Ohio? Can you get to work dealing with the kitchen table issues, the things that really matter to people? That's what I say. But again, back to your flows. Neil writes this morning, how are you protecting your property if you shoot it up or shoot this thief and your property is wrecked? Neil, what you just said, to me, what I saw, he can say what he wants to say. I mean, human beings do that. Human beings lie. All of us, some more than others. And human beings most certainly lie when they feel like their goose is about to be cooked. They will lie in a second. And people are smart. They're smart enough to realize, like, wait a minute, stand your ground. Yeah. Oh, my life. And because of the way that the laws are written, it becomes very difficult to prove in court that somebody wasn't feeling a certain way. Just like it's very difficult in court to prove that officers don't feel a certain way when they claim that they felt a certain way. How do you tell somebody how they felt? Especially in a dangerous situation. It's very difficult. But from what I saw, all they had to do was stand back, maybe like a step and a half. The car would have drove away, and that was it. But it is what it is. Arnell writes, looks like he was a worker and was in the wrong for wanting to joyride. Sean writes, so if somebody breaks into your home, you should not shoot them. Well, but we're not talking about somebody breaking into the home, Sean. We're talking about somebody that jumped into a car and was driving away. You know, I use the example of somebody breaking into my home in terms of how I felt. And when I realized that they were no longer in the house, the threat level went down for me tremendously. You know, I went from a situation where I was willing to kill to defend to, I hope they catch you, because you're not a threat. So let me put it this way, Sean. You know, let's say somebody breaks into my home and they steal whatever. They could steal this camera, or steal this laptop, or steal this audio interface, or whatever they want to steal, right? You know, some pricey items, right? And then I walk downstairs, I'm strapped, and I see them running down the street. I'm not shooting at them. It's just not worth it. Number one, I might hit an innocent bystander, right? Somebody had nothing to do with it. These little trinkets, I can buy more of this. That's what you have insurance for. They're trinkets. Okay, I can get more of that. So no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to shoot a man, a woman, or a child over some trinkets, over some stuff. Am I going to be outraged? I'm going to be pissed. I don't got money like that. What they think this is? I don't got it like that. But if you're not a threat to my person, you're not a threat to my children, you're not a threat to my family, my wife, physically, I'm not going to treat you like you're a threat. I'm going to prosecute it and look at it the way that it should be. You got me. Caught me slipping. You ran in here and stole some things. Okay, enjoy it, pawn it. Well, I guess it was some drug money. I guess you needed it more than I did. That's how I look at it. And yeah, people have broken into my car and stole stuff. It makes you mad as hell. But it's trinkets. Let's go to the phones. All right, 513-873-7134. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, comrade.
Good morning.
It's calling about two things. Well, the topic this morning, you know, hey, at this point in time, it is what it is. They passed it. The governor signed it. Nobody's out here collecting signatures to repeal it like they did SB 5 back in the day. So it's going to be law. So, you know, you have your morals, Nathan Ivy. I got mine. And the reality is if somebody feels like they about to take some stuff from you and they feel like, you know, they can stand their ground, they're going to try to get it off. And that's going to be that. So, you know, at this point in time, I kind of feel like stand your ground. Yeah, we can talk about it, but it's kind of moot. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see people getting shot dead in the streets over, like you said, trinkets and little stuff, and the law's going to do nothing about it. But I want to focus more on the conversation you had yesterday. I couldn't call in because I was tied up, but I did have an opinion on it, and I want you to do something for me. I want you to acknowledge the enormous privilege that your daughter has going to Walnut Hills High School.
What's the privilege?
Oh, you don't ask her. If you don't know, I don't think you attended there, so you don't know. But I've attended. I'm a graduate there, and I'm sure there's a lot of graduates listening. We all acknowledge that going to Walnut Hills is a tremendous privilege. Number one.
What's
and
the
nobody
privilege?
can ever say that it's not. Well, ask your daughter. I'm saying she'll tell you what the privilege is. Only
Yeah,
people
but my
who
daughter didn't make
experience
the
it know
statement.
what it is.
You made the statement, so I'm asking you. Explain to me what the privilege is.
The privilege is when it comes to the level of priority, Walnut Hills kids are number one priority. And the board acknowledged that in their vote. The thing kind of knocked you out of the park yesterday. Shout out to the alt middle and their affiliates. And so I'm not going to really rehash what he had to say. I think he put the nice little bow on the present. I was just calling this, hey, acknowledge the privilege. If you won't do it, you want to hide behind science. And I'm saying this ain't got nothing to do with science. It's got everything to do with privilege. Because if it didn't, then all the kids would be online or all the kids would be blended. They made one exception for my alma mater, and I appreciate that. Shout out to the Walnut Hills Eagles. But that was based in privilege, bro. You had 100 parents, okay, who signed a letter, lawyered up. That's one question. Did you sign this? Was you part of the 100 parents that signed this letter or lawyered up at Walnut?
You're asking me, was I?
Was you one of the 100 people that signed?
No, I wasn't.
To say kids,
I'm not.
Are you not one of the individuals who hired that lawyer? Are you?
No.
Okay, all right. So you're not in that. All right, but that's the power of Walnut Hills. That's the power of the privilege. 100 parents organized, got a lawyer, showed up at the meeting, and basically said the school board down and say, my kids are going virtual or we're going to sue you. And guess what? We have the power and the money to do just that. Like I heard the woman, the pediatrician testify. I got 2 kids at Walnut. I mean, she was so arrogant. She was like, I'm a pediatrician. I got 2 kids at Walnut. She basically telling the school board, listen to me. I'm the pediatrician and I got kids at Walnut and y'all know what y'all talking about. That was the gist of her conversation. So again, I go back to the fact I love Walnut Hills. That's my school. Okay? I claim that spot because I've been there 6 years. I just want people to acknowledge the privilege because those kids were put in first priority by keeping them home. You want to point the science? Hey, I get it. It just gives you an easy out to not to acknowledge the privilege of going there. While all the other kids at AK and Woodward, they have to brave COVID if they want to go to their classes. While Walnut Hills don't have that same problem. So that's it. And I'm going to address what the term sellout means in the Black community because that term is used and misused, especially by my elder Black men. They don't even understand the concept of selling out. You got to look it up. And I'm going to cover that this weekend. Have a great weekend.
All right. All right. Thank you for the call. I think the brother is completely wrong. You know, he's talking about the privilege. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. I think that people look at Walnut Hills wrong. The real privilege is the privilege that the teachers and administrators get because they have a high concentration of high performing students all in one building. That's the real privilege. See, people look at Walnut Hills wrong. You got it backwards. The administrators and the teachers have the privilege of the parents that raise these children that pass that test and then go to that school and perform very, very highly, get good test scores, and then make everybody associated with the school look good. Like part of the reason why you as an alumni is beating your chest and so proud about Walnut Hills is because of the current performance of the Walnut Hills students. So get that twisted. I've tried to tell people this face to face about that in Walnut Hills. Y'all got it backwards. It's the other way around. If you took all of those students out of that building and put them in another building, all of them, they'd have the same test scores. It wouldn't matter who the administrator was. And in most cases, it wouldn't matter who the teachers are. Realize that, number one. It's the teachers and it's the students and the parents that make that school what it is. Get that twisted. And then you said the science don't matter. Well, fact of the matter is you're wrong about that. The science does matter. The science matters a whole lot. What are you talking about? So I get it. And I think if anybody is to blame for these conversations about Walnut Hills and whether it's privilege, you got to blame the school board and you got to blame the district. But I blame the school board more than the district because they are the ones that made this decision to send everybody back before they should have. So, for instance, it's just confounding, quite honestly, since you brought this up. Like, you know, when I talked to school board members, they was steady talking about what was happening in other states and these smaller school districts in the suburbs of Cincinnati, but they never used the examples of that they should have used. So, for instance, Cincinnati Public Schools is the third largest school district in Ohio, the third largest. Number 1 and 2 is Cleveland and Columbus. So if you're going to compare yourself to anybody, who would you compare yourself by? Would it be smarter to compare yourself to a school district that's like 25th or 30th in terms of size, or the first and the second if you're the third? I'll wait for a second. That's right, the first and the second. And if you look at what the first and second largest school districts did in Ohio, they did something different. The kids in Cleveland are going back into the end of February. The kids in Columbus were out of school all of this time. Now, of course, they went back February 1st, but they never went back and forth. They made a decision and stuck with it all through the academic school year up until February 1st. So it comes down to science. That's what it was about. The reason why is because people can play these games about the distance they want to, but the reality is that there's a lot of folks out there that believe, and I think the science is far from a solid conclusion, that 3 feet of space and 2 feet of space, which is effectively what it ended up being in Walnut Hills, which is completely untested. By the way, you got a whole new class of 7th graders that don't know that building whatsoever. They're going to be wandering around, breaking quarantine protocol, and everybody knows it. Stop playing games. So it came down to the science. I think that's what the difference is. But the fact that people have these feelings about, oh, Walnut Hills is being treated differently, I blame the school board, because if they would have come up with a comprehensive plan and stuck with it for the entire district, then there wouldn't be a difference. And this is the reason why your boy Nate Ivey said from day one, the CPS should stay completely virtual. That way, everybody has the same access to the education, albeit it's not a perfect scenario, but every school is in the same scenario. There's no difference. And you wouldn't have these conversations and these feelings that, Walnut Hills is being treated differently because of privilege. But the school board didn't do that. They was on some dumb-ish. And so now they got to deal with these perceptions. That's not on me. And then the last thing you said was, oh yeah. You said something about PG Sinfield. Yeah. I saw that you was going hard at Lincoln Ware because he signed on to the letter to say he supports PG Sinfield. And again, that's Lincoln Ware's right in decision. You have to ask him as to why he did it. I would suspect his answer will be he did it because he fucking wanted to. Simple as that. And I know that Graston is trying to say this is some kind of betrayal to the black community, but I don't see it. I don't see how this is. And I've asked you several times and you keep dodging it. And I think the reason why you keep dodging it is because you can't explain it. So you just say it, but nobody's really holding you accountable to what you're saying. So I think you think that means something, but to me, I don't see it. I mean, maybe you got a point, but you would have to explain it to me and I'll have to think about it. But he signed it because he fucking want to do it. Like everybody else do what they want to do. That's why he did it, period. You don't like it, don't sign it. That's how I look at it. It's just like, abortion. If you don't want an abortion, you don't believe in abortion, then don't have one. But don't tell somebody else what to do. Simple as that. You don't like skinny jeans? Then don't fucking buy these skinny jeans then. Simple as that. But don't tell somebody else not to buy it if they want to buy it. You don't like Britney Spears music? Then don't play it. But if I like Britney Spears, then stay the hell out of what I'm playing. I think that's pretty straightforward. That's how I look at the world. But you tell me, 513-873-7134. He also mentioned Fame. Fame did try to make that point, but I remain equally unimpressed and moved by it. I hear what you're saying. I understand it. But that's just not how I see it. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I see it. Simple as that. So people need to get that twisted. Quit getting it twisted about Walnut Hills. It's the students and the parents that makes that building special. If you took all those students and parents and completely transfer them with another school, guess what's going to happen? Wherever all those parents and those students go, you're going to see them same test scores. That's what I see. I mean, I'm not trying to issue on anybody because there's some really good people that work at Walnut Hills. My daughter has a few teachers that she's really, really fond of. I think they're doing an excellent job. Props to them. But don't get good privilege. What the privilege is the other way around, son. You just don't know. Let me see here. Oh, people saying was no sound. Looks like you're giving one hell of a commentary. I was going hard. I was going hard. It wasn't quite 2 minutes, Steve. If it was, I'm Smith. If it was, my apologies. Arnell writes, how do you manage to hit the sound? That's because I'm turning it on and off. Like when I play like video, I turn it off. And I just need to get better at it. Sorry about that. Glenn writes, it feels like a karate flick. That's hilarious. Let me see. Pastor writes, sad, but people are quick to defend their property. I think it was the shooter's gut reaction. Right. Like I said, I mean, you put 10 different people in that situation. I don't know what the percentage is of people that will actually shoot to kill. For me, I'm not in that situation, but projecting myself into it, kind of knowing myself. If you're trying to run me down, then I'm going to do what I got to do. If you're trying to steal my car, I don't see myself shooting you in the head over a vehicle that I got insurance for. You're going to give me a brand new car. I mean, that's how I would look at it. Yeah, my insurance rates may go up. I have to check the policy, but I don't know. Natasha writes, stand your ground law. Absolutely. Marche writes, he could have shot the tire out. This is not the criminal justice refinery. Brian writes, you felt violated. I came back to someone in my car. I had the means to take their life. I didn't do it. Now, if you pull something on me, he was done. But kill him though? Question mark. Now, if I'm walking on the street and somebody tries to demo me, there's gonna be a tussle. This was a murder. Yeah, I mean, somebody trying to stick you up, that's different than somebody trying to steal your car and drive away from you. Like away from you. That means you're not a threat. Or that means that they're not a threat to you. They're a threat to your property because they're stealing it. But I don't see it. But again, I want to get your thoughts on it. Sean writes, the wages of sin, death. The gift of God is eternal. The thief broke a commandment of the living God. Okay, that's harsh, man, but I get it. Yo writes to Pastor Leslie, people should stop stealing. Also, you have hardworking people that bust their ass for their property not to be stolen. Jill writes, 99% of killings with a gun are not in self-defense. Rolando writes, they say if you pull your gun, shoot the threat. James writes, woo. He writes, we in a new day. These folks killing in broad day. Some of these criminals made a lifestyle off of the pandemic scam money, and that money is running out. Some are prospering, some are hurting. And the ones that are hurting are coming for the ones that are hurting are coming for the ones that have. And they ain't scared to die. Stand your ground. Yeah, it's BS for what's coming, but when these streets dry up, it's going to be hell. We just have been having blindfolds on because all this extra money coming in fast. Stimulus. And then taxes, don't be fooled. It's worse than you think out here. Okay. Kelly writes, good morning. All good morning to you. Marche writes, okay. And the prison to school pipeline is real. Fame writes, God damn, Nathan, how about not carjacking anyone and this don't happen? Again, I can't disagree with you. I think the first fault was from the dude that decided to steal a vehicle. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'll play it for you one more time. I know people are always cycling in and out of the show. Hold on, let me play it for you one more time. Coming up at 9 a.m., we're scheduled to get a Zoom call from T.T. Stearns, Enzi, and we'll talk about films. He's fresh from Film Festival, and we'll talk about that for a bit with him. He is a man who is passionate about it, and I love people with passion. So let me play this for you one more time, and you tell me what you see.
New surveillance video showing a customer turned shooter pulling the trigger on a man who stole this Mercedes G-Wagon from a car wash in 2018. In the video, you can see car thief Jose Reyes Bermudez hop in the SUV. A car wash employee tries to stop him from driving off. And then on the side, the customer, Stephen Lott, aimed his pistol and fired 2 shots, one piercing the left side of Bermudez's head.
Everyone was like yelling, call the cops, call the cops.
Bermudez not making it far. Video shows the car crashing into the Office Depot right across the street. That was Lott. According to a newly released prosecutor's memo, Lott quickly identified himself as the shooter and told Miami police, quote, I was in fear for my life and I shot. That statement, charging him unjustified.
Now, did you see the way that car just careened or just drove straight into that building? Now, what if there was a family walking right there? The driver got shot in the head. He was done. There was no hitting the brakes. All for what? I mean, I don't know. Those are the kind of things I think I would think about, but that's just me. Dale writes, I'm not saying I would shoot. Don't think that's my first move because if I shot, then someone unintentionally could be harmed. Glenn writes, there are rules to the fame when committing crime to Nate. Criminals know that we're getting into and the cost of committing crime. I'm just saying. And what I'm challenging is the attitude that because you commit a crime, no matter what that crime is, that anything can happen to you. And I want to make this point, right? Is that somebody added, and again, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I want to use your opinion to make a point. And the point I'm trying to make is that we as a community are outraged at the way that the police treat people, even when they're suspects. And what I'm telling you is across the board in our society, black, white, or whatever, we've got this attitude that if you committed a crime, even if it's a minor crime, that no matter what happens to you, you deserve. And people will say, well, you shouldn't have committed a crime, no matter how small the crime is. And that's part of the reason why we keep seeing the kind of brutality that we see. Because to me, it's a very small step between somebody who is alleged to have committed a crime and somebody who you think committed a crime and somebody that didn't commit a crime. And I just feel like we got to be a little bit more careful about the process in which we allow law enforcement, and as a society, we deal with people even when they are guilty, even when they dead guilty, even when they are a prisoner. That's why it matters the conditions of our prison. That's why it matters when it comes to due process. That's why it matters that you're innocent until proven guilty, in my humble opinion. But what do you think? Let's go straight back to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan and Tracy. How are you? I'm going to be
great,
real
Tracy.
quick
Welcome.
because I'm on my way into the... Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm going to be real quick because I'm on my way into the office. I wish I could have just put this in the chat, but your guest is coming up at 9 o'clock. That's the movie critic, right?
Correct. Yes.
Can you ask him his opinion of Malcolm and Marie? That's like the new hot movie that everybody's talking about on Netflix when he comes on. I'm just curious if he watched it and what his thoughts are on that, because that movie gave me an absolute headache and I had to watch it in parts. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just, in my opinion, very intense. And I had to watch it in parts just to come down off of, the intensity of the movie. But if you could ask him his opinion of it, I'd really like to hear what he thought about it. I haven't even seen the end yet because I had to just watch it in stages. I'll finish it today, but it's a lot. It's too much. It reminds me of some relationships I had in my early 20s, and I'm so glad I'm not where they are anymore. But it's interesting, but it's just intense. So if you could ask him if he's seen that, I greatly appreciate it.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the call. Okay. Yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, I will. I haven't seen it as of yet, but I'll check it out. I got a long list of things I like to watch. I just got other things that are a priority right now. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Fang. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with the number one talk show host in the greater Cincinnati area.
Oh, high praise.
However,
I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. However, I just find you a little misguided on this carjacking situation.
Well, set me straight, brother.
Never once did you say, how about not stealing my shit? Tell that to the carjacker. Because you try to take my stuff, you're going to get what you get. I can't sit up here and definitively tell you I would have busted him or I wouldn't have. 'Cause I won't know until I'm in that situation. And that's a situation I hope I don't have to be in. But at the same time, just leave my stuff alone. You're trying to take from people, you're going to get what you get, especially at gunpoint in my face. You're trying to, strong arm me. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not. No. I have no sympathy for the carjacker. The law is what it is. Stand your ground. Just don't touch my stuff. And this doesn't have to be a problem. Do you understand where I'm going?
I understand.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, I told you, baby girl, this was the rules with an old girl, Tessa Brown, the Gorilla Glue girl, Gorilla Glue girl, the Gorilla Glue woman. It's a woman. I'm sorry, but that's how she's being affectionately known as through social media, the Gorilla Glue girl. She's got a GoFundMe for like $13,000 already. That made $13,000 in one day. Got a little ponytail cut out. and I guess the rest is supposed to help her pay for a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. All this clamor for an idiot. You ask me, her and the dude that got carjacked, it's natural selection. You get what you get. And that's all I got to say this morning, brother. It's been real. I had fun, and we'll talk again someday.
There it is. Somewhere out there's a black man with a wolf pelt walking around the streets of Cincinnati. That would be Fame. Say, what's up to Fame when you see him? And he howls after he delivers flows. Well, the only difference between the two, great flows, by the way, but the only difference between the two I see is that one is self-inflicted, the other was inflicted by another human being. So Gorilla Glue Girl, that is a tongue twister. Gorilla Glue Girl. Say that 15 times before you do your podcast every morning. Loosen up your pipes. But yeah, I did see that. I think it was it might have been Tracy sent me something last night saying, look at this GoFundMe. She made $17,000. Again, if people want to give her money, great, go right ahead. I'm not giving her any money. I don't understand how you make such a mistake. Do I have sympathy? If it was an honest mistake, I got sympathy for anybody. I don't want to see anybody suffering. If she did this as a ruse to make money, I got no sympathy for it whatsoever. Whatever happens, happens. So what? So what, and so be it. Makes no difference to me whatsoever. But, it's amazing what it takes to go viral these days. All you got to do is put some Gorilla Glue in your head and then post a video. Meanwhile, you got people out there with righteous and in most cases, charitable, intents, trying to raise attention, can't get no attention. You got folks out here trying to raise money for triple negative breast cancer, like the Erica J. Holloman Foundation. But she can get 15 grand because she put Gorilla Glue in her own head. I just think it's commentary about the times we live in. It is what it is. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Is this Danita?
Yes, it is.
Hey, good morning, Danita. Welcome.
Hey, I missed the show yesterday. No day, so first being able to speak there was great. But I just some of the things about the privilege of Walnut, and I happened to hear your comment about the privilege being the students that are there now. And I just want to correct a couple of things because honestly, it's not them. It is actually the students that are there now are being privileged or receiving the privilege that they have because of the students who were before them. And I want to say that now the requirements on the test have been lowered significantly. So they're not, it's not the same rigor that it was. And even now, Walnut Hills is no longer rated number one in the state. Walnut Hills is no longer rated in the top 15 in the nation. So no, it's not the students in their performance who are there now, because their performance is lacking, if you want to be honest. So they're riding on the privilege of those who did well before them. And then for your comment that if you took those students, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll let you finish your whole flow, but I find
go ahead.
Well, okay, so you're saying that so let me take it back to the conversation I had with Graxton. And I think exactly what I said is part of the reason why current alumni are so proud about and want to stand up and claim Walnut Hills is, number one, everybody wants to claim where they come from. I get it. But it's because of the perception of the school and its academic performance right now. Right?
No, their performance right now, now is lacking.
And that performance right now is based upon what the students are doing right now, not what they did 10, 15 years ago. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so you're right. Walnut is no longer number one, but it's number 2 in the state. And I think they're like number 51 nationwide or 52, something like that. So
no, they're not number 2. No, they're not number 2. They're number 5.
Okay, they're number 5. They're number 5. So it dropped a little bit, but it's still high enough for people to feel a sense of pride and prestige about, right?
I'm going to always feel pride for Walnut Hill.
I'm just saying.
Be proud of
but that pride is based upon what it's doing currently.
No, it's not, because what it's doing currently is less than what it was doing when I was there.
Okay, so you're telling me that.
So you're telling me that my focus is.
I understand your point, but I think you're making a separate point. It's not really responding to what I said, but I hear what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that what the students are doing at Walnut right now is what people are paying attention to. Yeah, people have a sense of nostalgia and they went to the school and that matters. But if those students weren't performing right now, then it wouldn't have the same perception that it has right now, right?
But they're not, because here's the issue. Before,
they're not what?
I could beat because they're not performing to the same level.
I didn't say to the same level. I said they're performing highly.
But they're supposed to. They're supposed to be the top.
Yeah, but every school is supposed to, but every school is not.
Wait. But you don't get accolades for doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but you do. Wait. But in the context in which I was using it, you do. It sounds like you're trying to make a separate point. But what you can't say is that what the students are doing today doesn't add to people's perception about the school today.
Not for you said alumni. Alumni is proud because of the performance of the student today. And I'm telling you that's not true.
Oh, okay.
Because the performance today is less than when we were there. See, before I could when somebody tried to cap on us at Walnut, I could beat my chest and say, whatever, we never won in the state. Where was your school? I could beat on my chest and say, we're nationally ranked. We're in the top in the country. Where was your school? Can't do that anymore. So no, it is different. I could before, when somebody wanted to cap on us and talk about it, say, top 10% of the city, what about you? That's not true anymore. So no, we're not beating our chest based upon the performance of the current student. Now we do want, and like people that I know, we want to see it get back to where it was.
Let me ask you a question. I just wanted to correct. Do you
that.
have children?
Hmm?
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Do you want your kids to go to Walnut?
Yes, I do. But I want my and I've had this conversation.
Point over.
People
That's my whole point. Is regardless of what you're saying, you still want your kids to go to Walnut for a reason, because they must be performing right now to a standard that meets whatever standard you want for your own children. So I got you.
No, that's not true.
Wait. I mean, because why else would you send your kids to a school that you think is not going to perform to a level that you want them to?
For the privilege, and I'm getting ready to explain to you what that privilege is. When you were saying there's no privilege, at Walnut, let me explain to you about the privilege.
I never said it wasn't a privilege. I said you had the privilege backwards.
Okay, well, okay, and then you kept saying, well, what is the privilege? So I'm going to explain to you what the privilege is, just for being in that building. Because there is privilege for just walking through those doors. The privilege of just walking through those doors is that they recognize that children taking Latin helps them better in English. It helps them on the SATs. It helps them with taking other foreign language, because Latin is the basis of all languages. So my kid's not going to get that opportunity at any other high school in Cincinnati Public. At Walnut, he's going to get Latin 7, 8, and 9. So that is a privilege. And if we recognize this, why aren't we being equitable with that with other schools? If we recognize that Latin is the basis of all languages, and we recognize that Latin helped those kids get those perfect scores on those ACTs and SATs, why are we not giving that same curriculum to other students? You know why we're not? Because it's the privilege of walking through the door. Another privilege of walking through that door is that you are able to take more AP classes than any other school in Cincinnati Public Schools. That's just because you walk through that door. You don't have that same opportunity at any other high school in Cincinnati Public Schools. You get that privilege when you walk through the door. Another privilege that you get when you walk through that door is there is not one teacher in that school that isn't highly qualified. Can any of the other 17 schools in Cincinnati Public Schools boast that? They absolutely cannot, because they have teachers who are not highly qualified. No other school in Cincinnati Public Schools can boast the number of PhDs they have teaching their kids. So that's a privilege that you get just from walking through that door that you're not going to get another 17 of the high schools. People have said, I sat here and watched a kid at the high school that I was at. This kid had a 4.8 GPA. And do you know that some college counselors wanted to question his 4.8 GPA and wanted to say, well, you know, grading is subjective, which it is, because teachers can literally decide A, B, C, D's, and F. We know that. But I guarantee you that kid, if he had been at Walnut with a 4.8 GPA, his grades would have never been questioned. You know why? That privilege of walking through that door at Walnut Hill. That kid who had that 4.8 GPA at the school that I was at, he took AP classes. He passed the same national AP exam that those students at Walnut Hills did. He worked his butt off from 7th grade to 12th grade. I remember that kid in the 8th grade saying, you know what, when I get older, I want to go to Harvard. And I'm going to do that in one of my class. That's what he said when he was in 8th grade, and he did it. But had he been at Walnut Hills, nobody would have ever questioned his grade because it was Walnut Hills. So like, that's the privilege that you get. Even walking in that building, you walk in that building and you walk in some of these other 17 high schools and you look at the difference. So please don't sit here and pretend that there's not privilege just simply because you walk through those doors, because we all know that it is. So don't insult our intelligence and pretend that it's not. And then to say,
do you have any children at Walnut?
No, I just told you that.
I do.
Okay.
So you talking about something that you think, and I'm talking about what I've personally experienced. So please don't insult my intelligence by telling me, wait, don't try to invalidate what I'm living, what I experienced, telling me what you think.
Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you what I think.
I'm saying it's two different levels.
I've been there. And I've been in the other 17
what you've
high
been
schools.
is not the same as what I'm doing, sis. It ain't the same. So I hear you.
It is.
I feel you. But you can't challenge my experience because you ain't there. And then secondly, I don't understand your first point. How am I wrong
saying there is no privilege
about the fact that Walnut Hills is a place where people want to be? And that's where you're going to send your kids. I don't understand.
I didn't say that.
That was what you said.
That's not a place that people want to be.
You said, no, that was the point you were trying to make. You were saying that Walnut isn't what it used to be.
You've been yelling there's no privilege, and there is.
I'm saying there is a privilege. The privilege is you have a high concentration of high-performing children, students, and high-functioning, high-performing parents all in what building? That's the privilege. I'm challenging the paradigm. Like, I know most people think the way you think. They think it's the building. I think it's the people.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm
let's
saying.
go to the next point that you said. Okay, so let's go to the next point that you said. If you take those same students and you disperse them into the other 17 high schools, you would have the same result. Let me tell you why you wouldn't. Because they wouldn't have the advantage. They would not have the opportunities for all of the AP classes that they have. Because you don't have the teachers there. You're not going to have the counselors that they have there because you don't have them there. You're not going to have the same books because, believe you me, they do have separate books. So no, you can't just disperse those kids to the other 17 high schools and 697 schools and get the same results. It ain't gonna happen. And you know it, and I know it. Now, you can sit there and pretend and defend and stay to this defense, but I think everybody knows that there is privilege. And everybody knows that if you disperse all 3,000 of them kids between the other 17 high schools, it's not gonna be the same because you don't have the same resources in the other 17 high schools. Now we can put a rule over our eyes and pretend, but we all know it's true. It's not the same resources.
Well, actually, we don't know it's
true. You're never going to convince anybody.
I disagree with that completely. I stand by what I said. If you took the whole entire student body of Walnut Hills and completely transplanted and switched them out with another high school, wherever all those Walnut Hills students and parents go, you're going to see a similar. Result in terms of their test scores.
Absolutely. Test scores, yes. Absolutely.
Well, then, that's what I said.
Okay, so I'll give you that. You will see the same test scores, but you won't see the same curriculum.
So now you want to change it and bring up curriculum. I never said anything about curriculum. I said that they would test the same way. You would get the same results.
Then I said, Nate, I stand corrected. Those kids' test scores on standardized tests are never going to change because that's that. So I will give you that. Their standardized test scores will remain the same. But Walnut is so much more than standardized test scores, Nate.
No.
And if that's all you want to, wait, let me finish. If you want to reduce Walnut Hills to just standardized test scores, I'll give you that.
I think you're changing the conversation.
Test score when you are, no.
You're changing the conversation. You changed it like twice now.
I'm agreeing.
Well, you agree with me now because I had to make it plain so you understood what I was saying. I'll reiterate it. As I told Graxton, and I'm telling you, the privilege is you have a high concentration of high-performing students and high-functioning, high-performing parents all in one building. That's the privilege. It's not the stone masonry. It's not the architecture. Yeah, I think the teachers have an impact, but it's the parents and the students, that collective of all those people and everything that they bring to the table that makes Walnut Hills special.
You're wrong.
Yeah, it's a
And we're gonna
culture
have to
created by those people, not the building.
You're wrong. Because
Well,
it's not just about the student. It's not just about the students and the parents. We're not going to agree on this. And that's cool. But again, like I said, I will give you the fact that standardized test scores would never change for the students sitting in those seats. I would never take that away from those kids. Never. No, their standardized test scores will never change no matter what seat they're sitting in. But their experience, their education, their resources would change if you put them in another building. And you can believe that it won't, but I'm telling you that it would. And guess what? Fortunately for us, and for my son who's going to be coming along in a few years, we'll never find out because Walnut's never going anywhere. That's never going to happen because they are the crown jewel of Cincinnati Public Schools. So thankfully, we'll never have to find out. But I think if you take a second and think about it, you will realize that, again, Walnut Hills is more than about standardized test scores. It's an experience to go to Walnut. You will learn things in those hallways that you will never learn at any other Cincinnati Public School. And I say this very proudly. Walnut Hills prepared me for real life. And I don't believe, honestly, that you get that experience at any of the 17 high schools. And I'm not just talking about curriculum. I'm not just talking about teachers. What you witness in those hallways, that is special. And that's what I'm telling you. You
what's in the hallways? You talking about the mosh pit? What's in the hallways?
No, I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the culture. I'll give you an example. When I was in the 11th grade, and there was, all 11th graders have to take a class called Time to Speak. All 11th graders. When I was in 11th grade, there was a girl in my class whose grandpa was a grand dragon in the KKK. So guess what? When she got up to tell her story, we had to sit there and listen to that. So when you learn to navigate in those hallways, you don't learn that anywhere else. You have to learn to navigate people because that's what you're going to see in the real world. You're going to see the kids who walk around with dog collars on in the hallways. You're going to walk around and see the kids who think they 50s. You're going to see the kids who think they black, the kids who think they white. Now they have the gay straight student alliance. You have teachers who are prejudiced. You have teachers who are caring. I had a teacher who walked around with a Confederate flag on his belt buckle. I had a teacher who used to tell his students, you better learn how to speak Japanese so you can learn how to talk to your boss. Those are the type of things that you learn to navigate in Walnut Hills because you're going to have bosses like that. You're going to have professors like that. You're not going to get that experience anywhere else. So that's what I'm telling you when I say the hallways. I'm not talking about architecture and what's on the floor. I'm not talking about that. Come on, elevate your mind a little bit. That's what I'm talking about.
It sounds like you're talking about culture, and culture is created by people. And I stand by what I said. What creates the culture, the most dominant force that makes Walnut Hills what it is the students and the parents, period. Well, and we can go back and forth all day long. It ain't the administrators. It's not the counselors. It's not the teachers. It's the parents and the students. And if you pluck them and put them in another school building and change the administrators and change the counselors and change some of the teachers, and some of the teachers are A1, I give them props for that, and change the teachers, you're going to get the same results because it's the students and the parents that make that school what it is. And that's
you're going to
undeniable.
get the same test score. You're going to get the same test scores, but you're not going to get the same privilege. And we're not going to agree on that. So have a great day, Mr. Ivy. It was great talking to you.
I will appreciate it. I love it when people try to challenge me on what they don't know. If you ain't experienced something, you can't challenge me. You can't touch me when I'm actually experiencing. I'm there, deep in it. You can't. If you're not there, please save it. You can't tell me nothing about it at all. Zero. And I know I'm challenging the paradigm because that's what I do. No, alumni want to believe it's the building, it's the bricks. No, it's the students and the parents. It's the people. Okay. And do I believe that there are good? Oh, absolutely. I know there's some great teachers there. I know it for a fact. No doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? I could see it and I really enjoy it. But there's a lot of good teachers at all the school buildings. If you take a whole lot, just like Fairview, that's the reason why Fairview for years and years and years was always testing so highly. It's because they had a high concentration of a certain type of demographic. And if you take a high concentration, that demographic, and put it in any geographical building, you're going to get good results out of it. You got parents at some of these schools that's got a luxury of time and or resources that they can put right back into it. Not every school building has that. So I know I'm challenging the paradigm, right? Because everybody, especially a lot of Walnut alumni, they want to believe it's the magic of the building. No, it's the magic of the culture that's created by the people. That's who it is. And the people, if you look at the sum total of all the people that make up any building, like a school building, we'll say Walnut Hills, the vast majority of who? Students. So how could we not say it's the students? It just don't make any sense. My daughter would be high performing no matter where she is, because that's who she is. She brought that to the table. I remember as I was at a Walnut Hills meeting with a bunch of parents a couple of years back, I made the same point, and somebody that works in the building challenged me. She was like, no, that's not true. I forget what I said. I think I said something like, I said the kids were smart before they got the Walnut, which is true. That's how they were able to pass the test. Stop with the nonsense. Okay. I know I'm here to I'm eating all sacred cows this morning. Somebody get the barbecue grilling. Fire up the Barbie. All right. I'm putting all sacred cows on the barbecue grill this morning. I stand by what I said, period. Now, is there a privilege? If you want to say that, sure it is. The privilege is the students and the parents. That's what it is. That's what it is. You got a high concentration of a certain demographic in one building. If you do that anywhere, you're going to get similar results. If you look at the more, and at least with the numbers of the testing, and that's what people look at. That's the reason why people want to put their children in certain schools, because they look at the outcomes based upon the state and these calculations and these tests. Now, is that the only way and the best way? Of course it's not, but that's what we use. That's what everybody uses. So it is what it is. Hold on a second here. I want to make sure. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm just getting a message here from TT. Hold on. Okay. Hold on one second. I got to resend this to TT Stearns NZ. We're a little bit late for our conversation. I want to make sure I get them in, but I appreciate it. I mean, we can always agree, disagree, but you don't get your own facts. No. Mm-mm. And I don't understand it. So on one hand, you're saying Walnut isn't what it used to be, but that's where you're going to put your kids. So which is it? It must be something, which goes back to my point. I don't get it. Again, in my opinion, I am a Walnut Hills parent. In my opinion, for what I saw, I think that it came down just to the science of being safe. And I'll say it again. What the school board did for Walnut Hills, they should have done for every school in CPS's system. I don't see to me, it's all the same. And again, you know me, I've been consistent. I felt like this for every school building. I wasn't just talking about Walnut, because I have a son who's not at Walnut. But the school board are the ones that created this fiasco by not having a clear, concise plan and sticking to it for everybody. And so when you start making these decisions, and some people got to go back and some people don't, it's going to give rise to these feelings that there's elitism going on, that some people are going to get treated differently. And that's on them. Hold on one second. I want to make sure I send this to TT Stearns NZ and get him into the show this morning. I love it. I needed that. Let's get the blood blowing. Blood boiling this morning. But nobody can ever challenge me on what I do and what I know. You can't call in here and tell me something that you don't know. And I'm telling you what I'm dealing with right now. I just don't have no tolerance for that. No. You gotta have some skin in the game. I got skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I see and observe. I'm telling you what I see and observe. You know what I'm saying? I see a whole lot of high-performing children coming from high-performing families. That's what I see. I see a whole bunch of that. And they were that way before they got there. Now, is there going to be an impact? Of course. But I think that the largest privilege, as I say again, is the privilege that the staff and that the district gets, because you got a high concentration of these high-performing students. And again, not every student takes AP classes at Walnut Hills. Not every student at Walnut Hills goes through that track. You know what I'm saying? Not every student does honors, for whatever that means, at Walnut Hills. No, and you got different tracks. So I think there's also a misperception of what that is, but I'm here to set it straight for you. And again, I love Sacred Cow. Serve it up. Serve it up. Serve it up. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. And then I just love it when people try to change the conversation because it doesn't fit. Don't change it. Keep it consistent. First we was talking about this, now we talking about that. Let's keep it consistent. Okay, we got TT with us, so let's go straight to TT Stearns NZ. Hey, what's up, TT?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, welcome to the world of talk radio.
I'm here for it.
Hey, brother, good to see you. And how have you been? It's been about, I don't know, since last year we talked, like last couple of weeks, last week of December, I think it was.
I think so. You know what? This is, of course, the busy time of the year for me, so I'm not going to complain at all.
Right.
I love this part of the season, watching movies, talking about them, telling people about them. This is heaven for me right now.
All right, beautiful. Well, thank you for your time, and I want to get straight into it now. I got a call, and I'll let you. I know you got something that you want to share with us, and I definitely want to hear it all. But I got a call. I want to make sure I put it out there first so I don't forget.
Okay.
We got a call from Tracy, and she asked me to ask you, have you seen, and if so, what are your thoughts of the Netflix movie Malcolm and Marie is what I believe it's called. Have you seen that?
It is. I've seen it. I've already covered it on Fox 19. Yeah, it's an interesting film. I like the idea of it. I love the idea of Zendaya and John David Washington together. I had some issues though, just with the overall execution of it, because it's a two-person kind of play almost. A lot of the energy and the dialogue that takes place, it's a very kind of angry, confrontational kind of thing. So it doesn't really give you enough time to kind of modulate between those high points. And yeah, with two really interesting performers, you should have a little more time for the interplay to kind of calm and settle down, even though I appreciate and understand their issues with each other and the situation they find themselves in. Yeah, it was a difficult sit. But I understand completely why people like it. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about at least one element of it today as part of the Critics' Choice Association, because Zendaya got a nomination for Best Actress from the film. So again, people are recognizing, the performances and the talent behind it, or, people are looking at it and thinking, wow, it was shot in black and white. It looks great. It's in a really interesting and cool setting. So yeah, there are some things about it that work really well. But like I said, for me, it was just one of those things after a while. And I love those kinds of confrontational couples kinds of stories. I'm a huge fan of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and stuff like that, where you have people that are really going at each other over their issues and the relationship dynamic and all that. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It was just that in this particular case, it didn't work for me quite as well, because again, with it just being two people, it felt claustrophobic in a way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is it worth my time?
Oh, sure. I would definitely say it's worth the time. Again, there's some really interesting stuff. There's, people have been talking about Washington at one point. He's angry and frustrated with his girlfriend and dealing with the situation, and she makes him a bowl of mac and cheese. And he's sitting there eating the mac and cheese, but there's something about the choice that he made and how he's eating it. It says so much about the character, but it's actually really funny because he's just like wolfing it down, and you're watching him, just the single frame on him wolfing down this bowl of mac and cheese, and it's just like, wow, like, dude, it's not going anywhere. It'll be all right. Like, so there are some interesting choices that they made about their characters and what they were trying to do. That, yeah, some of that stuff works really well. It does.
I like both of those actors, and my daughter loves Zendaya, so it's on my long list of things to get to and watch.
There is a very, very long list of things. Yes.
So tell us about the Critics' Choice Awards. What is that exactly, and how are you involved?
Yeah, it started out as the Broadcast Film Critics Association. They changed the name a couple of years ago, and it's interesting for me because I literally joined the group. Last year was my first year as an active member. And partially that was because I had been, as maybe some of your listeners know, I'm the critic for Fox 19, and I have been for about 5 or 6 years, but I never took the opportunity to apply for membership in the Broadcast Film Critics Association until a couple of years ago. But I got in, and it's because of that kind of steady broadcast work that I do that I'm in. And since I see more than enough of the films that come out every year, I vote strictly on the film side. There's a film and a television branch, so I'm strictly on the film side. And they actually, I mean, we're kind of a featured player in the award season. You've got the Golden Globes, you've got us, you've got all of the Guild Awards, the SAG, the Writers Guild, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got the Oscars, which, again, the Oscars are the granddaddy of them all. But we all, in our own ways, have an opportunity to kind of present films and performances that we think are worth consideration. And hopefully we're kind of pushing the needle for those Academy voters as they're trying to figure out what they're going to nominate, and again, what's eventually going to win those awards. So it's a great opportunity. And last year, my wife and I we had the chance to go to the show. So not only being a part of the group was that an exciting process, but there's a show, it's on the CW. Taye Diggs is the host. And it's basically, unlike the Oscars, it's kind of like you're in a big room full of people at tables. They have food and drink, and everybody's kind of sitting around hanging out. And part of some of the backstage stuff that's kind of fun is literally in between the commercial breaks, you can get up from your table and go walk around the room and meet people and talk to them and get pictures taken with them. So for us last year, I had a couple of friends or colleagues who had been at the show a number of times. So they kind of showed us the ropes about how to handle getting around the room and what we needed to do. And yeah, we got pictures with, part of the team from Parasite. I got a picture with and had a couple of different conversations with Sterling K. Brown, who not only was in This Is Us, but he was also in the film Waves, which I really loved last year. So I got the chance to, get a picture with him and have a couple of conversations with him. It was a great show. It was a great opportunity. And, again, I'm excited to be involved in this year's, even though we will not have that whole live event like we had last year, but there will be an award show. It'll be, I believe, in early March. We are, kind of going through the process now. Taye Diggs is still going to be the host. So we'll be talking about and presenting these films and giving out awards with the hope and understanding, of course, that, again, this year is going to be a different year, but hopefully by next year, we'll be able to get back to business as usual, do the show, and I can guarantee you, my wife and I will be back at the show next year, whatever, when we get the opportunity to do it in person. So it's a great time and a great opportunity. And really, at the end of the day, it's a great celebration of film.
Okay,
So that's the real reason to be there and to be a part of it all.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I've seen some of those images you put on Twitter. So yeah, take that. I know you can take your phone, but get some video, man.
Yeah.
Get some video. That's always dope.
Like I said, we're learning. Like last year, it was just, it was definitely a learning experience because, when we got there, we were at a table at the very, very back of the room. Because again, I'm a first time member, and my wife was kind of like, well, wait a minute, we're not going to be able to see anybody. How are we going to get close to people? But like I said, once we learned the process and how it worked, it was like, okay, in between breaks, we were like, okay, well, here's the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel table, and here's this film. Okay, yeah, we can work our way through this, and we don't necessarily have to go back to the table. So again, it was an opportunity. You meet some people, you shake hands. Hey, I love your work here. What are you doing next? And yes, you're right. Ideally, that does mean that in the future when we go, yeah, there'll be opportunities to do more than just to take those pictures. It'll be a chance to really kind of build on some relationships, find out a little bit more about stuff that's going on. So have no doubt at all that's on my plan the next time we go back.
So what's on your, what are some things out there that you're watching right now? Like what's good as we get into 2021?
It's tough to really kind of talk about 2021 because again, with the pandemic and how we've had to adjust and kind of pivot from things. And again, pivot is like that word now I'm pretty sure that everybody hates to hear. But we do have to talk about it in this context because ordinarily during a normal film year, the award season looks at films that are released during a calendar year, and they have to spend at least 1 week in theaters in either New York or LA during that calendar year. But because this past year was so different, they've extended that now till the end of February. So even though I have seen everything, because as a critic I get links and the opportunity to see, to catch those films so that we can do the voting and handle all this process, there's still films that are being released, like Judas and the Black Messiah, which I believe is going to come out in a couple of weeks. So I'm still talking about films that are part of technically the 2020 year. So it's tough to kind of think ahead because I'm still in that mid zone where I'm still talking about the last year and we haven't completely moved into the new year yet. I'm watching some shows, some streaming shows or whatever on the other side to kind of push me forward. Like right now, on Disney Plus, I'm watching WandaVision just like everybody else. So yes, I'm seeing that. And I know that in theory, that will be a show that will factor into, the Emmys and the Globes and the Critics' Choice Awards in the next year. So I'm kind of doing that. But again, like I said, I feel like I'm still locked in 2020 in a way, because my wife and I, as a matter of fact, just watched One Night in Miami last night. I'd already seen it. She hadn't seen it yet. So we sat down, we watched that. And in essence, I was kind of watching it as almost a preview or a prep for today, because again, that's another one of those titles that's gotten a lot of nominations. It's getting a lot of buzz. And Regina King directed it. It's about, this kind of hypothetical, iconic meeting between Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown. You've got great actors in all of those roles. Maybe some new discoveries, people we hadn't necessarily seen in this light before. But it's a great story. Regina King, again, I can't speak highly enough about her in the last couple of years that she's had, whether we're talking about Watchmen or winning an Academy Award for the Barry Jenkins film. I mean, she's out there in such an incredible way, and now she's directing a film that will likely end up with her getting, an Oscar nomination potentially for the film, and maybe even a directing nom on her first feature film. Big year, big time for her. So yeah, like I said, I'm still talking about that kind of stuff too. So
I want to talk about all of it. So
yeah,
WandaVision, I'm into the Marvel. You already know that.
I know.
Matter of fact, I hooked up with you. You watched Black Panther together, man. It was super fun. So I haven't watched the whole WandaVision stuff. I'll be honest with you, TT. I've been cheating because I don't have the time to watch all of the shows I'd like to. They've got these YouTube channels where they do a synopsis in like 5 minutes, or they'll tell you the ending. I must admit, I've been cheating. That's how I get it, man. I can condense 5-6 hours into 5 minutes. Boom, now I know what happened, and it's been working. So I'm a little confused about the whole thing. But what's your take on WandaVision? Is it worth it? Do you understand it?
It is worth it. I do kind of understand it. I mean, I think part of the genius of it is this is unlike anything Marvel has given us so far. It's not a straightforward kind of story. It's playing with genres. It's playing with how we perceive different realities. And they are really looking at and enjoying the idea that they can kind of play with storytelling as a whole in completely different ways. And it's, again, that's what you would hope you would get out of this form. It's not strictly tied to any particular comic book story, although it's pulling from different elements from any and all of the stories. There's even now the hint of, the idea of the multiverse and pulling in this case, strands of stories that were not initially part of the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're pulling in, again, characters now from the Fox side of things, which we weren't allowed to see, that those two worlds kind of coming together. But the last episode that just came out this past Friday is blurring those lines even. So again, we will see potentially, maybe the mutants will be in the MCU, or the Fantastic Four, or some of the other villains and characters that have not been a part of that combined universe may now find ways to break into it. So it's exciting in that respect. And I would tell you, I understand the cheats, because again, it's available and it's easy and you get to see clips and it all kind of seems like it's going to make sense. But in this case, it really won't truly make sense until you see it and immerse yourself in that world. The synopsis, it will give you the broad points, but it won't give you those specific details. And you really will want the specific details, because what happens in the details is, like, Elizabeth Olsen, her performance is so weirdly multi-layered, because it's all about, is she just living in this sitcom world where we're looking at sitcoms from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, or what else is going on? Is it a Marvel superhero actiony kind of thing? She's playing and moving through all of those genres and styles and doing really incredible work. I mean, it's one of those kinds of performances that you look at and you think, wow, at the end of next year, we could be talking about what the work that she's doing right now that we're watching, because yeah, that's pretty dynamic stuff. So when you get the chance, make sure you really sit down and settle in with it. And it may work for you to do it this way, to wait, because now they're releasing one episode a week. They gave us, I think, the first 2 or 3 episodes at the very beginning, and then now they're just doing those weekly rollouts. So if you wait till the end, all 9 episodes are there on Disney Plus. You can sit down and kind of binge watch it, and maybe it'll all make sense in a different way.
Yeah, I hate that. It's like The Boys. The Boys is one of my favorite new series, and the first season they released everything at one time, so it just fed into those binge watching kind of habits. Then the second season, I guess, for commercialization's points, and they added a new show. It's kind of like they give you 3 episodes, then another, then another. I like the binge watching, element of it myself, but it is what it is. That's why I go to these YouTube sites where I can get a quick synopsis and decide as to whether, I want to go back and watch it again, but I can get the gist of it in a short amount of time. So
yeah, I think though the reality of what has happened with a lot of that, because of the way things have gone with quarantine, I think the streaming services started to recognize that, again, yes, there was a time and a place for binge watching, but because people were home and you kind of had a captive audience, there was an opportunity to kind of switch things up a little bit. And part of it was, okay, I got to make sure that I keep eyeballs on my service. And the best way to do that may not necessarily be to give someone everything at once, where they sit down and watch it and they leave the service completely. This way, I can give you a few episodes, but then doing it more like almost like a network TV series, I bring you back. And when you come back in between, you will check out this one episode that I've given you, but then you might stay and check out something else. So that's the business model behind it all.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of the story stuff, like I said, I think the story stuff works as well, because again, because we are home, it would feel like if you binged it and you were done, then you were you were done. That was literally it. So this way it keeps you connected and engaged over a longer period of time. And it gives you something to think about, and you can talk about it with people online, or, people in your house, however, your situation is. So it's kind of creating an almost water cooler kind of dynamic for it that can extend longer into the life of that particular show.
Somebody wants to know, what about Chadwick Boseman's last movie, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Yeah, it's another one of those titles. It got a nomination for Best Picture from the Critics' Choice Association. There are several nominations down from there. Viola Davis got one for Best Actress. He's in there for Best Actor, and it is an amazing performance. It really is. You never want to think, well, okay, this is the last performance from a particular person that I'm going to get. And have in your head this idea of, like, how does this match up? What else were they going to be able to give us if they had, been able to continue working? But I do have to say that in this case, if this is the last performance, this is the one you go out on, because he does it all. He gives it to you. The character that he creates in this, and again, it's from an August Wilson play, so you already know there was great meaty material in there in the first place. But he dives into it even deeper and gives us more of what we probably came to know and love and appreciate from him in the first place. He gives it all to us. He lays it all out there, doesn't leave anything, any questions about what it is that he could have done. So it's amazing for him, and it's amazing in its own way for Viola Davis. I had a few issues just overall with it, just because, you know, again, it's based on a play, and every once in a while, filmmakers have a difficult time making that transition between, you know, a play and what you can do with film and opening the world up some. So at times it still feels a little stagey, but that is not any fault of, you know, the performers themselves. It's just the trickiness of trying to take what was usually one big set, or, you know, the set pieces that were kind of built into it, and trying to open it up. That's just it's a challenge that every person or every team adapting a play has to deal with. But I think, like I said, overall, yeah, amazing work. And I do believe he will. Not only is he going to get nominated, as he has across the board, I think this is going to be, you know, a real one of those moments where he's going to get the win. Everybody's going to get to celebrate it. And again, like I said, we're going to kind of look at it and wish, wow, like, you know, what else could this guy have given us?
Speaking of Chadwick Boseman and Marvel, you know, I got to ask you, what's the latest on the next Black Panther movie and/or the series?
I wish I knew. That is the question. And again, you talk about, you know, checking out stuff on YouTube or whatever. I kind of go through all of those channels in the comic book world and people that are trying to get information and making, you know, their hypotheses and putting it out there about what's going to happen. Who knows? It's you know, we do know at least the idea that Marvel has said they are not going to do any kind of CGI representation of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. We know that. But beyond there, does it mean that, you know, Shuri, his sister, takes over, or is there going to be sort of the fight to, you know, establish a new Black Panther, or, you know, what other characters or people in the Marvel universe are going to appear? We're going to see Doom, or we're going to see Namor, or the Submariner. Who knows? And at this stage, all of that questioning and the ideas and the theories that are popping up right now, I'm actually excited when I read everybody's thoughts about it. But again, I'm like everybody else. I'm just waiting to see what Ryan Coogler and his team are going to give us. And we do know that Coogler and his team have already made an extended deal with Marvel. So it's not just the movie that he's making. They're also going to do sort of a Wakanda series, I believe, is part of, you know, the streaming service that they've set up. So yeah, we're going to spend more time in that world, but we have no idea what any of that looks like right now.
I mean, one last comment about Marvel, and speaking about spending time in that world, over the weekend, my daughter, she started this on Friday. She's like, Dad, I'm going to go back and watch all the Marvel movies this weekend. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize that these movies, like the Captain America, the Avengers, the Iron Man, this stuff all started back in 2008.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that we've been dealing with this for over a decade. You know, they have a segment of our society that's fully immersed into this world that they've created, and then just looking at what their plans are. I mean, they got plans for the next 20 years. Right. I mean, this Marvel stuff, this universe, this MCU is here to stay for people that enjoy it.
And there are so many characters that we haven't even seen or been introduced to. Like I said, like the whole WandaVision thing seems like it's opening up, you know, the multiverse idea, but the multiverse is not just about, you know, within the Marvel's comic book universe, but again, they are now taking and incorporating all of those film elements. You know, Sony had Spider-Man, they were able to bring Spider-Man in, but, you know, you're going to still have questions about Venom and those other Spider-Man adjacent kinds of characters that may find their way into the Marvel universe. You know, you've had a couple of Fantastic Four films that didn't necessarily do all that well, but that, you know, gave us Chris Evans, as a matter of fact. He was, you know, the Human Torch in those films, and then left that world, jumped into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and became Captain America. So are the Fantastic Four going to find a way to get back into it? And again, like I said, the big question that everybody has is about, what about the mutants? Because, you know, the X-Men movies as a franchise were the biggest non-Marvel franchise that was out there. And not having the opportunity to bring those characters into the Marvel Cinematic Universe was kind of always a problem for them. But now they have the opportunity to do it. But that means as you're doing it, do you bring back those actors from those films, or do you recast, or what does that look like? And because they've got all of this material to play around with, there's endless possibilities. And you're right, this could be another 10, 20 years worth of storytelling that spins out, and it could spin out across all of these different formats too.
You know what? Brian is right. He's right. People do forget that Blade is Marvel. And that's really what kicked this all off. I mean, props to Wesley. I thought the first Blade movie was a classic. I thought the second one was a good follow-up, but that first one was a classic.
Yes.
And you already know, man, the idea of a black superhero. And I think in the case of Blade, he was like an anti-hero, right? Because of a part of him as a vampire. But that's really what kicked it off. It wasn't Captain America. It was
no,
black superhero was Blade.
Yeah. And now we're going to get Mahershala Ali as Blade. So again, that, and there's
That's right.
all the questions about what's going to happen with that. Like, right now, because it's part of, the Marvel Disney world, it's like, well, are you going to be able to do an R-rated version of that story to really delve into all of the darkness of Blade as a vampire hunter and how he kind of made his way through the world? Those are going to be some interesting questions, because those early films, like, that first one was an R-rated film. And if, Disney so far has been very resistant to exploring anything beyond the PG-13 kind of world. So are they going to open up with that for him? Are they going to do that with Deadpool? So there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that are going on. But again, that's another one of those titles that, because of Mahershala Ali, I'm like, you got a 2-time Oscar winner getting ready to step into that role. There's the chance to do some really hot, interesting stuff with that character in this cinematic universe. So I'm like, let's go.
I could see Mahershala. I could see him doing that. If he can nail down the choreography, for lack of a better term, the combat scenes, I could see him doing that. I can see him doing justice to it, for sure.
I'm sure he can, because again, they have been able to figure out how to make everyone, at least on the film side, look as great as they need to look. And as authentic as they need to look to make that happen. I will admit, like, I'm like everybody, like, I loved some of the Netflix Marvel stuff, but that first season of Iron Fist was a disappointment, because they didn't quite figure out how to make that actor look like he was a martial arts expert, because they didn't have enough time. But once you have the time and can give the people the training that they need to go through it, they showed by the second season, the more that they introduced that character, everything looked and felt like it was supposed to. So again, I think, knowing Mahershala Ali's commitment to work and everything else, he's gonna immerse himself in that, and Blade will look and feel exactly like he needs to by the time he hits the big screen.
I got to ask you about American Skin. That's Nate Parker, and I think Spike did some producing in that.
Yeah, I think
have you
he's the
seen
executive
it?
producer of that. I have not. I have talked to a couple of colleagues, though, and been on some shows where people have talked about it. It's a weird film, only because, again, for better or for worse, people are still kind of dealing with, like, all of the Nate Parker stuff in general. When Birth of a Nation came out, and people kind of rehashed his personal history and the things that happened to him when he was in college, it kind of helped to sink that film. And to be quite honest, his response and reaction to it didn't help either. So he spent some time kind of away from the industry, outside of things. But I will say this about him: he was always a really thoughtful guy, and was always paying attention to what was going on in the world, because he had a short that came out right before Birth of a Nation that was called American, and it looked at race relations and the policing and all this stuff, and it was a very pointed kind of story that I remember using in educational programming that I was doing with teens in schools and other outlets that I was working with at the time. And again, like I said, it was a really thoughtful look at, the issues that were going on. And he was trying to challenge us to be able to look beyond these things and say, well, hey, how are we dealing with this as a society? What's going on? So American Skin is just a continuation of his own thought process and own idea and ability to kind of push the culture and the society into looking at things in a different way. And I can't wait to finally getting around to see it. It's one of those titles. And again, I can only imagine that, if Spike felt that it was important enough to get involved with as a producer, or I believe, like I said, an executive producer in this case, then his presence and being involvement with the project means that it's worth us checking out.
So tell us, I mean, what are some of the things that came out of 2020 that you think people might have missed that's worthy to circle back around and check out, whether it be in the small screen or the big screen, or I guess everything's a small screen these days, huh?
Yeah, everything did kind of become the small screen. I've got a couple of titles. There's technically one that I guess was more of an independent film. It came out during the summer of last year, Miss Juneteenth, with Nicole Bahari. It was an incredible story. She played a woman who, was living in Texas, had been part of a Miss Juneteenth pageant and won despite, I guess, the odds that might have been against her at the time when she was a young woman. But she wasn't able to kind of fully capitalize off of the victory and what it was supposed to grant her, whether it was the scholarship and the opportunity to advance, her life and her career. She ended up pregnant and having to raise a child and kind of working jobs, along the gig jobs along the way. And now her teenage daughter is about to participate in the same competition. And it looks at, the push and pull between the two of them. And again, all of these larger social and cultural issues behind it all. And it was a great film. And Bahari's performance was just incredible to watch. And it was, again, a meaningful, impactful story. I remember covering a lot when it came out at the time. And most of us that covered it were all kind of thinking, well, yeah, this is a film that hopefully we won't forget about, or that people won't forget about. So it's not making a lot of noise on, the Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes kind of stage. But I do believe it will hopefully have the opportunity, again, to kind of break through, if it's just through critics associations or maybe, the Independent Spirit Awards. There's some love that film needs to get. So that's a high one on my list for people to check out. On the documentary side, which people don't necessarily talk about documentaries all that much, there is an amazing documentary that is getting lots and lots of love. It just made the short list for the Oscars. It's called Time. And it's a story of a woman who, she and her husband commit a crime in the 90s with someone else. They're caught, they're punished, sent to jail. I think she gets like a 6 or an 8 year term. Her husband ends up getting, I believe, a life sentence. First time criminals, they had kids. She was actually pregnant at the time that they were being prosecuted. But what she does is she serves her time, she gets out of jail, and she documents all aspects of her life and her experience, because she wants her husband, she wants to have a record for him when he gets out, so that he can see and appreciate, his kids and their experience, and the idea that they never forgot about him. And the film looks at and captures all of those elements, and it captures her really making amends and apologizing to the people that she may have hurt as part of the crime, and the struggle that she goes through to try to get her husband out of jail. It's an incredible film and an incredible story. So I've been telling people about that, but that's one that in this case, I'm glad it is getting that kind of love and it's getting that attention, because it does mean that the more awards love that it gets and the more people recognition that it gets, people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to check that out. And again, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It is so worth seeing and worthy of the experience. So that's another one that I would really tell people, like, yeah, if you get the chance, check that out, because it's phenomenal. Yeah, it'll hit you both here, and again, make you think about the kind of the prison industrial complex that we have and how the system works or doesn't work. So yeah, it's a must see.
What's the next thing that's like the very next thing that's on your list to watch? I know you said you had a list, as I do.
Yeah.
What's the very next thing you're going to watch?
The very next thing is something I got to wait for. but it's all right for me. I'm a, again, sci-fi comic book nerd kind of guy in a lot of ways. I grew up reading the Frank Herbert Dune books. I have now read all of the books that Herbert's son and his collaborator have written as they have expanded the Dune universe. I saw the David Lynch Dune film, and I love David Lynch. It wasn't a great film, but it was great to see that world kind of brought to life, even though it was brought to life in the 80s at a very different time when technology wasn't really capable of rendering it in the way that we needed to see it. That Dune, the new Dune film from Denis Villeneuve is coming out. It was supposed to come out in December of 2020. They pushed it because of everything going on. We are hoping that we will get it towards the end of this year. I am waiting for that like nobody's business. And, there's a lot of other really great films and tentpole kinds of projects that are out there. I could care less about any of the other stuff that's out there right now. I'm dying to see Dune.
Okay, I can respect that. As I was gathering my thoughts this morning for the conversation, what I realized is that I feel like I'm kind of waiting to see what Jordan Peele does next.
Yeah,
I want to see what he does next. I thought Us was kind of different. So I want to see what comes from his mind next. I'm a sci-fi, like you said, I'm a sci-fi comic book nerd type, love a good horror, good scare, but I'm a fan of the genre. So anybody that can push the boundaries of these genres, I'm into it. Yeah. Have you heard anything about what Jordan Peele might be cooking up?
You know what? I haven't. And again, it's funny that you mentioned him because really, I think the other person that I would say that I would be curious to see what they're going to do next, and shouldn't be a surprise at all. His name has actually already popped up in this conversation. But I'm kind of curious about Spike. And Spike has partnered with Jordan Peele. He's partnered with Nate Parker. He's a guy that will collaborate with other people, but you also know that when you get the next Spike Lee joint, it's going to be something different too and something interesting. So I look forward to that because again, I think what he's doing and how it relates to Jordan Peele is he's setting the stage for Jordan to recognize that, okay, I can use my position as an Academy nominated, writer, producer, director. I can work with other people. I can give them an opportunity through my imprint or through collaboration with me to help push them forward as well. Spike is doing that, and he's always done that, So, yeah, what he's doing now is still about Spike, but I think he's laying that groundwork and that example for everybody else to say, this is the kind of career that I've been able to have, and your opportunities are going to be different and better than the situation I may have found myself in early in my career. So he's kind of like, almost like, I want to see what you do with these new opportunities. So the fact that you're looking forward to what Jordan Peele may do next means that, somewhere in there, that's kind of like Spike's way of saying, yeah, I opened that door and I want to see where everybody goes with it now that the door is open. So I'm still waiting on Spike. But yeah, I'm with you. I kind of do want to see what Jordan Peele does next as well.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like once you said Spike, I'm like, yeah, he's been on that list somewhere in the back of my brain, like, period, right? Whenever there's a new Spike Lee joint, it always catches my attention. I want to see what he's doing. And I like the fact that he steps away from, I'll just put it this way. I like the fact he does different genres now. I like that.
Yeah. And I think he needs to, he probably recognized on some level that he needed to do that to kind of open things up and keep it fresh. He can still insert a Black consciousness in any of those genres at any point in time. Like, yeah, he took with the Five Bloods, that was a story that was not an original story from him. It was something that he picked up that had been kind of out there for a while, and other directors thought they wanted to get involved with it. As a matter of fact, he's got a conversation now that he just taped with Oliver Stone. And Oliver Stone was one of the people who had a chance to take that story and do something with it, but he couldn't figure out how to crack it in the way that he wanted to. So Spike, not only was he able to crack it, but like I said, he was able to give us this action-oriented Vietnam era kind of story. But again, he made it fully a Spike Lee joint by making sure that we understood that the Black experience and the Black consciousness was going to be an integral part of that story and that experience. So it's like, yeah, he's recognizing that he can take what he loves and cares about and is passionate about and do anything he wants to with it. And he's always been able to do that. But because now with Netflix and having the opportunity and the money, resources, whatever, yeah, it's like it's kind of unshackled him in a lot of ways. So it's like, wow, he's got some real opportunities and he knows it.
Well, TT, as always, it is my pleasure, man. I really enjoy our conversations, and I definitely want to make sure that we stay connected. Any last thoughts you want to share with the audience?
Other than the fact I've mentioned to you privately, I'm working on a project now. I was one of the 20 plus artists that got project grants from Artsway for their Truth and Reconciliation initiatives. So I'm working on that right now. I've released the first essay. I'm doing some long form essays as part of that. But then I'm also going to try to start kind of a podcast, or what I'm really calling a conversation with people. And it will be some critics that I might know from both here and around the country or even around the world. But really what it is going to be an opportunity for me to really sit down and talk to regular people, whether it's through, virtual kind of conversations, or hopefully as the year goes on and everybody gets vaccinated, if I have the chance to sit down with people in coffee shops or in bars or restaurants or whatever, but to talk about film and representation and what all this stuff means, both to us as individuals, but as a society as a whole. I'm really excited about having this opportunity. I'm looking forward to kind of pushing myself to do some different things. As a matter of fact, there's going to be the second long form essay in this series that I'm doing will come out in the next week or two. I keep everything on my blog, so if people want to find out more about it, it's at terencetodd.com. You can see the first piece, and like I said, hopefully by the end of the month, the podcast will start. And like I said, again, it's just going to be hopefully this kind of conversation. I'm taking a lot of cues from you. I love how you set up conversations with people, get them talking about issues that they care about. I want to try to find a way to do that within this context of what I'm trying to do. So again, I'm giving you a shout out for that, because seeing you and being able to participate in this only fuels the ideas that I have in my head. So thank you. And yeah, like I said, I hope people check it out and are curious about it and will want to find out more about it. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the next few months as it continues to roll out.
Oh, for sure. You already know. Well, TT, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate the kind words and your time this morning, and we'll catch up real soon, brother.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all most def. That's TT Stearns, Enzy, everybody. I'm a big fan of TT. Big fan, man, for years and years and years. I didn't realize, man, we've been having these conversations for 10 plus years. Way before Black Panther was thought of. We was talking on the radio at that point about Black Panther. And I just appreciate the authenticity and the passion, right, for what he loves and what he does. And it's 100% real. So I love those conversations. I'll say it again. This show will never just be about politics, because that is too boring. That's not who I am. I'm into numerous things, culture, people, politics. That's my wheelhouse. So that's what I like to talk about. So I appreciate that. And make sure you check him out at his website, terencetodd.com. And you already know, I'll put it out there, let everybody know where it is. Once he starts the pod, perhaps we can work together with CDM. You already know. That'll be dope. I'm here. I'm an open resource, man. So what'd you think, everybody? I know a lot of people were chiming in. Just wanted to try to maximize the time as much as possible. To kind of talk about a wide range of things that are going on that you might be interested in, and that he's already seen or so. So I thought it was interesting. What T. Greg in here he's still kicking up dust. That's hilarious. Listen, before we go any further, and we're nearly at the end of the show, looks like we're 3 minutes over, but I definitely got to break and have a moment for our sponsor. Of course, today's show is sponsored by the Wellburn Experience, 513-252-1055. We'll be right back right after this.
It's that well-born experience. It's that well-born experience. The well-born experience. 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 It's that well-born experience. Yeah, the well-born experience. Yeah. That well-born experience. Experience. Tell us what you need. That's the question we start with. We specialize selling condos, houses, apartments. Make sure that you happy with your residence. Keep it real, no filter. Otis, the realtor from the nattiest heaven sent. It's the well-born experience. Ain't nothing like it. Every time he talk to his client, he's so excited just knowing he able to put them in a place to lay their head. Not focusing on his profits, but on the client instead. Right. He keeps it so professional and from his conversation. You can tell he studies before sharing information. Educated, motivated, ain't nobody better. Who's willing to walk you through every step to relieve the pressure? Yeah, and just so you know it's real, you get a special personalized rug once he closes the deal. So go and call him up so he can get you live. 513-252-1055.
All right, again, that's 513-252-1055. So that's my time this